Test one, two, test one. Test what the test one, two. Hello. Is this microphone working? Is this microphone working? Okay, there we go. I think it's good. Let me double check. See if the audio output is working.
And President Trump announcing that the White House will...
Good to me. Let's get into this. What is this update? The Middle East crisis.
Impose a 100% tariff on Chinese imports.
Okay, so we're not talking about thousands of Palestinians returned to northern Gaza. We're talking about the increase in import taxes that Trump's putting on China. Check. Testing.
And President Trump announcing that the White House will impose a 100% tariff on Chinese imports, and it will go into effect it will go into effect on November 1st. Trump claiming the Chinese forced his hand, saying that these new tariffs come in response to China's aggressive position on trade. So for more on this, I want to bring in ABC's Christian Cordero. And Christian...
So you're the person that you want to do trade with. You're like, they're not trading with me enough. So what I'm going to do is make trading with them even more difficult by adding tariffs onto them. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The only reason China has an aggressive trade policy when it comes to the United States is because of the tariffs. Adding more tariffs is like literally just throwing more fuel on the fire. Like that is, you are adding more reasons for them to stop trading with you. It's like, oh, I poured gasoline on a match and it really caused a big flame to erupt. I don't like this flame, so let me just pour more gasoline onto the match. That should put it out. Maybe I can drown the flame in gasoline.
What more do we know about these tariffs?
Well, the trade war between the U.S. and China, Alex, of course, has been going on for many months now. It was one of the focal points of the administration when it came to changing the tariff policies, the trade policies in the U.S. But most recently, just yesterday, China announced new restrictions on rare earth minerals, and that really kind of set the ball in motion as to what has happened in the past day or so. We saw President Trump criticize that, threaten tariffs, and immediately saw stocks act accordingly, which we'll get to in a minute. But really, when it comes to the announcement itself imposed on allegedly November 1st, as far as the president has announced today.
Just have to say, everyone in chat, you guys have a horrible sleep schedule. Like, you should not be encouraging me staying up this late.
He says that...
But you also don't make me feel as bad. So let's get this straight. China basically said we're going to stop selling our rare earth minerals to the US, and Donald Trump was like, okay, well, we're going to tariff you. Like, I don't know, man. I does realize that by creating this secondary market, by isolating the United States market from the world, that's only a tool you can use so much. Like, Donald Trump came out in interviews and he was talking about how he uses tariffs to stop wars from happening. The idea that these tariffs somehow stopped India and Pakistan from attacking each other, that somehow the tariffs that he's like putting on Russia and Ukraine stopped that war. There have been no wars stopped by tariffs. This is a tool that is really more of a scalpel rather than a broad overall policy. He just had what's the Canadian Prime Minister's name? Carney. He just had Carney in, and he was talking about how much of an investment Canada was going to make in the US, and none of it was true. It was a complete lie. Like, these tariffs have not achieved anything other than contributed to inflationary forces within the United States economy and solidifying our trading partners to create external markets that don't include the United States. So if you want China to sell you more rare earth minerals, I don't think that adding tariffs is going to cause that to happen. And the idea that that's what we're worried about too. Like, dude, your voting base, the farmers of this country that sell their soybeans to China are just in the absolute tank. China's not buying any of their soybeans, and he's adding more tariffs to this. So I don't know. Once again, this is another indicator that it really doesn't seem like Republicans are trying to win popularity among the American people, which is concerning if you care about democracy functioning smoothly in the next few elections.
It is in response to China's extraordinary.
You're at the club and you're listening to me? Holy shit, dude. I ought to. That's crazy. That's crazy, dude.
Extraordinarily aggressive position on trade related to export controls, and said that China sent letters to around the world threatening to impose export controls on each and every element of production having to do with rare earths. Rare earth minerals are used for things like semiconductors, computer related resources. And he also, interestingly enough, said that there's no way China should be allowed to hold the world, quote unquote, captive, which critics note that is essentially what President Trump has been doing with a lot of the upheaval around trade policy here. So much to be seen, Alex, as far as what happens next. But the truce that we have had with China is set to expire in less than a month. The two leaders were set to talk in a couple of weeks in South Korea, and that seems to be in limbo right now.
He's actually like.
President Trump is threatening a massive...
Republicans will look at this and they'll be like, oh, Donald Trump is playing 4D chess. He's going to leverage the ability of America. He's going to leverage the power of the American market to force China to give us a good deal on rare earth minerals. But the truth and simple aspect of what's actually happening is that Trump is a petulant child. And he thinks tariffs are this type of tool that he can use to solve any issue that he thinks of. Drugs coming into the border, we'll tariff them. People don't want to build a wall between Mexico and the United States, we'll tariff Mexico. We have an unequal trade distribution, we'll use tariffs so that people will buy more of American-made products, even though that's not necessarily a good thing. We have China saying that they're not going to sell us these rare earth minerals. We'll tariff them. He says he uses tariffs to end wars. All of this is complete bullshit. He's just a kid, and he thinks he can use this hammer of the tariff to solve any of these issues. And it's not going to work. Tariffing China, which he's already done, is not actually going to stop the increased control of these rare earth minerals that Trump is so pissed off about. Is this?
On another note,
is this Trump's health? Is this his health update? Okay, we need to get into that too. Where's more of these tariffs? I want to see more of these tariffs. Massive tariff hike.
Market has moved sharply lower in just the past few moments. That's probably because of some breaking news we're getting out of the White House and a fresh post on Truth Social. For that, we'll turn to Eamon Javers. Eamon?
Carl, that's right. This is the president now reacting on social media to the Chinese move earlier to restrict rare earth materials coming out of that country to nations around the world. The president posting a lengthy post on social media here, but in it, he's threatening unspecified retaliation against the Chinese side. He also seems here to cancel his scheduled meeting that's coming up with President Xi Jinping of China. The president here saying this was a real surprise, not only to me, but to all the leaders of the free world. I was to meet President Xi in 2 weeks at APEC in South Korea, but now there seems no reason to do so. The president going on to say that the Chinese letters about rare earths were especially inappropriate and that this was the day that after 3,000...
I'm sorry, I don't really care that much about what Donald Trump actually has to say about this. What is the actual deal? So China, rare earth restriction. What are the restrictions that they put on it? They tighten the grip on rare earths ahead of expected Trump-Xi meeting. I'm not going to subscribe to the Wall Street Journal. Let's check out Reuters. Summary. China curbs export of 5 new rare earth elements. New rules come weeks ahead of Trump-Xi meeting. Foreign producers who use Chinese tech material are required to comply. Foreign semiconductor users will face more scrutiny. They dramatically expanded its rare earth exports controls on Tuesday, adding 5 new elements and extra scrutiny for semiconductors users as Beijing tightens control over the sector. So yeah, they're just like taking more control over the exports and adding like more restrictions and stuff. So they produce over 90% of the world's processed rare earths and rare earth magnets. They are vital in products ranging from electric vehicles to aircraft engines, military radars. They've implemented the regulations mimic rules the US has implemented to restrict other countries' exports of semiconductor related products to China. We're likely entering a period of structural bifurcation, with China localizing its value chain and the US and allies accelerating their own. In a nod to concerns about supply shortages, the ministry said the scope of items in its latest restrictions was limited, and a variety of licensing facilitation measures will be adopted. China's latest restrictions on the 5 additional elements and processing equipment will take effect on November 8th. It's 90 days. Okay, so these are the different rules. Are they going to say what they are? The new rule applies to a 14 nanometer chips or more advanced chips. So basically it's just like they have more control over it, and they get to kind of influence what type of materials go to like which different companies, I guess. Rules will also apply to research and development of artificial intelligence with potential military applications. I mean, look, let's not get it twisted. This is a power move by China, and it has been done to reflect all of the power moves made by the United States and its Western allies. But this is China kind of like flexing its muscles a little bit here, especially just a few weeks before a meeting that Xi Jinping was going to have with Donald Trump.
Export controls on Thursday, ahead of talks between Presidents Donald Trump and Xi Jinping. The world's largest rare earth producer added 5 new elements to its list of restricted rare earth exports. Beijing also added dozens of pieces of refining technology to its control list, while announcing rules that will require compliance from foreign rare earth producers who use Chinese materials. The Ministry of Commerce also announced extra scrutiny for semiconductor users, saying defense users will not be granted licenses, while applications related to advanced semiconductors will be approved on a case-by-case basis. The slew of new restrictions follow.
I mean, this is basically China just like it's making a move to expand its cultural control and its cultural influence, because you basically are like, you have to follow these rules that China's setting in order to use these materials. In the past, you could just use the materials, but now it's like, oh, well, you're using this for potential military AI. Well, you gotta follow our rules then if you want our product. You have to work more with Chinese investigators, make sure you're following Chinese regulations. You're going to have a much closer relationship with China. If the US sees China as a foreign adversary, then of course this is going to be something that the United States doesn't want, because it doesn't want like countries that are kind of in the middle or don't really lean one way or the other to have a much more like cushier, close and intimate relationship with China. That's kind of like what I'm getting from this.
Calls by U.S. lawmakers earlier this week for broader bans on the export of chip-making equipment to China, and Beijing's regulations mimic rules the U.S. has implemented to restrict other countries' exports of semiconductor-related products to China. They also expand controls Beijing announced in April that caused shortages around the world before a series of deals with Europe and the U.S. eased the supply crunch. The new curbs will take effect on November 8th. Just before a 90-day trade truce with Washington expires. Their announcement comes ahead of a scheduled face-to-face meeting between Trump and Xi in South Korea at the end of the month. Founder of Singapore-based Edge Research Tim Jong said Thursday's move increases Beijing's leverage ahead of the meeting.
I mean, it is kind of a bitch move. It is kind of a bitch move that Donald Trump sees this power play by China and is like, I'm not going to even meet with you then. I can't believe you do that. If you're going to act like that, then I don't even know if I want to show up to that meeting in South Korea. Yeah, kind of bitch made from there. Okay. So Yes, he's going to add more tariffs to China, but once again, we'll see what actually happens here. Let's talk about the Palestinian ceasefire right now that's happening in Gaza. Thousands of Palestinians return to what's left of their homes as Gaza's ceasefire takes effect. Wadi Gaza, Gaza Strip. Tens of thousands of Palestinians headed back to the heavily destroyed northern Gaza Strip on Friday as a U.S. brokered ceasefire came into effect in a deal that raised hopes for ending these. All the remaining hostages were set to be released within days. Questions remain over who will govern Gaza as Israeli troops gradually pull back and whether Hamas will disarm, as called for in U.S. President Donald Trump's ceasefire plan. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who unilaterally ended a ceasefire in March, hinted that Israel might renew its offensive if Hamas does not give up its weapons. The latest truce, nevertheless, marks a key step toward ending a ruinous 2-year war. Yeah, that's one way of describing a genocide. A ruinous war that was triggered by Hamas's 2023 attack on Israel. By the way, we need to talk about something real quick now that they brought up oh yeah, a genocide is ending, but let's talk about what started the genocide, because that's super important to talk about. Okay, well, yeah, if we're going to talk about what started the genocide, let's talk about what started the genocide. Let's see, where's my saved stuff? Saved a lot of ICE videos. Talk about it. This is interesting. So John Mearsheimer explains how 1,100 October 7th deaths attributed to Hamas is misleading.
No, the number of Israelis who were killed.
You guys can hear this.
By the Israeli forces. And you want to remember, it was not just the Hannibal Doctrine. The fact is that the Israelis got caught completely by surprise, and they did not have a very good backup plan. So what they did was they rushed in massive firepower, and they used that firepower to attack Hamas and the other Palestinian forces that had moved into Israel proper. And they killed a significant number of people, not with the Hannibal Doctrine, but just with all that firepower that was brought to bear against Hamas and other Palestinians who were intermingled with all sorts of Israelis. Then there's the whole issue of the Hannibal Doctrine, because as we know, the Palestinians were bent on taking many of their captured Israelis back to Gaza. And the Hannibal Doctrine calls for killing those people before they get there. So some Israelis were killed as a result of the Hannibal Doctrine. And then you want to remember, on top of all that, it's consistent with international law for Hamas to try to break out of the concentration camp and to engage Israeli military forces in combat, which means they're going to kill some of them. So the fact that they killed Israeli soldiers is not a case of murder. Now, there were clearly Israeli civilians who were murdered. I'd be willing to bet in the final analysis, however, that Hamas did not murder many of those Israeli civilians. But be that as it may, whoever murdered those civilians, and in my mind committed a war crime. But I think that most of the Israelis who were killed were either soldiers, who I think are legitimate targets, or they were civilians who were killed by the Israeli forces. I think you cannot underestimate how many Israelis were killed when all that firepower was brought to bear. And if you look at a lot of the pictures and you listen to what happened, it's quite clear that those Apache helicopters really wreaked havoc on everything that was down on the ground. And of course, that included Israeli civilians. So I think we have a pretty good sense of what happened. Now, is that reported in the Western media?
Yeah, so then obviously it's not, but this guy's clearly anti-Semitic. I mean, he says that it's okay for concentration camp prisoners to kill the guards, the armed guards that are keeping them in the concentration camp, even when those camp armed guards are Jewish. This is just clearly an anti-Semite. We all know that Israel, even though it has a like a specifically named doctrine for killing hostages. They would never kill their own hostages. They would only focus on saving hostages and minimizing the amount of loss of life, even about their enemies, because the IDF is the most moral army in the world. So anyone who says otherwise is completely anti-Semitic. But if we're going to go off of what this guy, a clear anti-Semite, says, then yeah, of course, like, people that justify the genocide will say the IDF is trying to release hostages. They are focusing on the military of Hamas. They're focusing on the military within Gaza. It just so happens that, there's civilians will inevitably die, especially when it's a very tightly, densely packed urban area. It's a very tightly packed, dense with people, urban area. And so, of course, civilians are going to die. It's the inevitable cost of doing war. But you never hear that type of talk when we're talking about what happened on October 7th. Military bases were targeted, soldiers were targeted, a lot of civilians died, but where are all of these people that are defending the actions of the IDF when it comes to saying that, well, civilians die, that's the inevitable cost of doing war? You don't hear that type of thing, because the people that say that type of thing about innocent civilian Palestinians dying are in favor of innocent civilian Palestinians dying, and they're not in favor of Israelis dying, because they want Israel to subsume Palestine. They want all of the Palestinians in Gaza to be gone, either dead or moved. They don't care. So that's, you hear that kind of justification when it comes to, like, in mainstream news outlets, by our politicians, by the people in power of this country. And it's said with a straight face, well, Palestinians will, like, civilians die in war. But if you ever dare say something about how October 7th, when Hamas invaded Israel, well, they were targeting military bases, they were targeting soldiers, they have a right to do so. And not only did, like, I'm sure Hamas fighters kill innocent Israeli civilians, but also Israel has a literal doctrine was designed in order to kill potential hostages. If you say that, you're smeared as like a Hamas supporter, terrorist, lover, anti-Semite.
As Susan was saying, but that reported in the Western media, as Susan was saying before, of course it isn't. The stories that you hear in the Western media, are basically a reflection of Israeli propaganda. I want to make one final point about this. What's also quite stunning about this whole issue is that nobody talks about why there was a breakout. Nobody talks about the fact that this was a concentration camp and what was being done to the Palestinians was abhorrent. And of course, there was going to be a breakout from that concentration camp at some point. The Israelis like to portray this as if it were a bunch of Nazis.
Yeah, and this is what I talk about when I'm saying that this is like the slow grind of oppression. When you have an oppressed group of people being forced into a small strip of land, the most densely populated area in the fucking world. You had like 2 million people inside of a tiny piece of land, hemmed in, controlled by their oppressors. Every aspect of their lives are controlled. They have their internet connection, they have their energy grid, their food, their water, their medicine, controlling their borders, who can come in and who can come out, controlling whether they have airports or are able to fish off of their coasts. Every aspect of Palestinian life is controlled by Israel. That is violence right there. But it's violence that has been institutionalized and normalized by people. Oh, well, of course, if a Palestinian walks too close to the border, they're going to get shot. If they don't allow the Israeli soldiers to grope them as they're trying to go from Gaza to either within Israel or in the West Bank, which is Palestinian land, they're going to get shot. If they don't follow the unlawful orders of their oppressors as they're interacting with Israelis on any aspect of their lives, they're going to get shot, detained, beaten, tortured, sent into prison. We talk about the hostages that Hamas took, but we don't talk about the hostages that Israel has. Israel said they were going to release tens of thousands of Palestinian prisoners, including a substantial portion of women and children. Why are there children prisoners in Israel? Explain that to me. That sounds a lot like fucking hostages to me, right? Children prisoners. What did they get put in prison for? Well, we know Ethan Klein. He said that the Palestinians, when they did the march to return, they were approaching the gates menacingly. And what was menacingly about them approaching the gates? Well, they were throwing rocks at the wall. They were throwing rocks at tanks. They burned fire. They burned tires so that the smoke would obscure the IDF snipers from shooting them in the fucking knees. That's what being a terrorist menacing figure is. If you're a Palestinian living within the shadow of Israel. You got it from the fucking liberal Zionist who's self-proclaimed against the genocide, and even he can't humanize Palestinians enough to be like, oh, well, if they throw rocks at a wall, why is that a big deal? We shouldn't arrest them and throw them in Israeli prisons because of that. They're kids. Even the self-proclaimed liberal Zionist who pissed his pants when he thought that Hassan shocked his dog, even he can't humanize Palestinian children enough to be like, maybe they're not terror babies. Maybe they're actually just kids and we should treat them like real humans. Anyway, I don't even know what the fuck I was talking about. Oh yeah, institutionalized violence. So you get this kind of institutionalized violence, and then what's the reaction going to be? Well, uninstitutionalized violence. If there's constant pressure, concentrating these injustices, there's inevitably going to be some kind of reaction, and that reaction is not going to be institutionalized slow grinding violence, because they don't have the power to do that. The people that are oppressed don't have the power to do violence in the same exact way that violence is being done upon them. So what happens? Raids, like guerrilla warfare tactics, short sporadic bursts of extreme violence, targeting military sites, targeting civilians also because their civilians have been targeted. And that is what's going to happen when you have an oppressed people that you are actively colonizing. And then once you have that, the slow grinding violence ramps up and it becomes an inferno of genocidal intent, of ethnic cleansing. That's what we're seeing here. So you have the slow grinding institutionalized violence inevitably causing a short sporadic outburst of a reaction, and then that is the justification that people are looking for to ramp up that type of institutionalized violence to actually finish the job, right? So this was a great clip. John Mearsheimer explains how 1100 October 7th deaths attributed to Hamas is misleading. Anyway, back to the ceasefire. So let's get to it. Latest truce nevertheless marks a key step. Many of them will find fields of rubble where their homes once stood, their Hamas homes, right? The military confirmed the start of the ceasefire Friday, and the remaining 48 hostages, around 20 of them believed to be alive or to be released by Monday. Palestinians said heavy shelling in parts of Gaza earlier on Friday had mostly stopped after the military's announcement. Mostly stopped. Okay, that's good. Netanyahu said in a televised statement Friday that the next stages would see Hamas disarm and Gaza demilitarized. This is achieved the easy way, so be it. If not, it will be achieved the hard way. What? That's a great way to that's a fucking great way to actually start the peace process, saying if this is achieved the easy way, so be it. Dude, you have to be an active participant in peace, right? When you have your soldiers in the heart of Gaza, you have to be an active participant. You can't just throw your arms up and be like, if this is achieved the easy way, so be it. If not, it will be achieved the hard way. The Israeli military has said it will continue to operate defensively from roughly 50% of Gaza it still controls after pulling back to agreed upon lines. Aid shipments begin Sunday. Meanwhile, the UN was given the green light by Israel to begin delivering scaled-up aid into Gaza. Wow, thank you, Israel. Aid shipments are meant to address severe malnutrition and famine conditions triggered by Israeli offensives and restrictions on humanitarian help. Not triggered. Triggered? It's directly caused by this. What? Oh yeah, the famine that's happening in Gaza was triggered by stopping food from going in there. The International Criminal Court is seeking the arrest of Netanyahu and his former defense minister for allegedly using starvation as a method of war. Israeli officials denied the accusations. Dude, this both sides bullshit is actually killing me. They're like, the International Criminal Court is seeking to arrest Netanyahu. He denies the accusations. Oh, good. Katie Halper is good stuff. Should I check her out? I am so... What sport are the Mariners? I have no idea. Is it baseball? No, baseball just ended, right? Or I have no idea, guys. You're gonna have to fill me in. Okay. People on the move. A steady stream of people, the vast majority on foot, crammed onto a coastal road in the central Gaza Strip, heading north to see what might remain of their homes. It was a repeat of emotional scenes from an earlier ceasefire in January. Others headed to different parts of the Palestinian territory in the south. The destruction they find this time will be even greater after Israel waged a new offensive in Gaza City in the north in recent weeks. The military bombed high-rises and blew up homes in what it said was an attempt to destroy Hamas's remaining military infrastructure. Palestinians have expressed relief that the war may end, tempered with concern about the future and lingering pain from the staggering death and destruction. Tempered with concern about the future. There wasn't much joy, but the ceasefire somewhat eased the pain of death and bloodshed, the pain of our loved ones and brothers who suffered in this war, said Jamal Mesbah, who is displaced from the north. In Gaza's southern city of Khan Yunis, hundreds of Palestinians returning to their homes found wrecked buildings, rubble, and destruction after Israeli troops withdrew. There was nothing left, just a few clothes, pieces of wood and pots. Many buildings were flattened and none was undamaged as people went back to search for their belongings. We came to a place that is unidentifiable. Destruction is everywhere. The war, and then look at this. The war began when Hamas-led militants stormed into Israel on October 7th, killing some 1,200 people and taking 251 hostage. Like, this just isn't even true. Israel killed a significant portion of this 1,200 people. But yeah, they have not allowed any kind of investigation into what happened on October 7th. So you still have completely unsubstantiated rumors like, oh, they put babies into ovens and did mass rapes of women and they killed 1,200 people. Like, Israel has a literal doctrine that describes, let's kill our own hostages. Okay, but whatever. How the agreement is expected to unfold. Israel is set to release around 2,000 Palestinian prisoners in exchange for the hostages. Yeah, the prisoners, right? The list Israel published Friday did not include high-profile prisoner Marwan Barghouti. Khalil al-Haya, a senior Hamas official and lead negotiator, said Thursday evening that all women and children held in Israeli jails will be freed. Like, prisoner children. Dude, how, as the Associated Press, do you write prisoners when you're talking about children? It's prisoner children? Oh God, is Tony Blair going to be in charge of it? How the fuck do you like go to sleep at night and you're like, oh yeah, they're gonna release all of the prisoners, and they're gonna release 2,000 prisoners, and that includes all of the children that they have. They're not prisoners, dude. They're fucking hostages. They're hostages just as much as even more so. Like, all of the hostages that Hamas has now are IDF members, or at least all adults and all male. So like they're all IDF or ex-IDF. Meanwhile, we're talking about like women and children and the Israeli prisoners. Just the amount of whitewashing and acting like what Israel's doing is normal by our media is actually sickening. It's so gross. The Trump plan calls for Israel to maintain an open-ended military presence inside Gaza along its borders with Israel. An open-ended military presence? An international force comprised largely of troops from Arab and Muslim countries would be responsible for security inside Gaza. The U.S. would lead a massive internationally funded reconstruction effort. The plan envisions an eventual role for the Palestinian Authority, something Netanyahu has long opposed, but it requires the authority, which administers part of the West Bank, to undergo a sweeping reform program that could take years. So yeah, basically just like regime change, make sure that it's a Western puppet state, and we know that Western puppet states always work out just exceedingly well. Shit, this is live.
Consequences, right? This is his deal. This is his problem.
Donald Trump plans to remain engaged with Gaza.
You're just joining us. The remains of 135 Palestinians killed in Israeli attacks were brought to hospitals across Gaza on Friday. Medical sources in Gaza also told Wafa that 19 people were killed in Israeli airstrikes on Friday. This is today. This is supposed to be during the ceasefire. The global Samud flotilla says 5 more participants from their mission to deliver aid by sea have been released from Israeli detention close to 10 days after their ship were illegally intercepted in international waters. At least 1 person has been killed after Israeli fighter jets bombed the village of al-Najariya in southern Lebanon. Israel claimed it struck Hezbollah targets storing equipment used to restore infrastructure belonging to the Lebanese armed group. The Israeli military shot a Palestinian man during a raid on the occupied West Bank of Dura and then prevented ambulances from reaching the individual. Oh, Miss Rachel update. Okay, let's see what she has to say. Okay. No, this is an older video. Palestinians have families too. What did she say? I'm just gonna look this up. Miss Rachel Obama. Instagram. Dear President Obama, I saw in your statement you said Israeli families and the people of Gaza. Palestinians have families too. This kind of language contributes to dehumanization. Dehumanization is part of what caused so many to stay silent as 20,000 children were killed in this genocide. I've sat with wonderful Palestinian families from Gaza. They look at their children just like we look at ours, with all the love and hope in the world. Love, Miss Rachel. Ooh, damn, she went for the double tap. I've always looked up to you, at Barack Obama. I don't understand why so many of these statements don't seem to view Palestinians as equal. All people and all children are equal and deserve the same human rights. Let's fucking go, dude. What post did Obama make? After 2 years of unimaginable loss and suffering for Israeli families and the people of Gaza. Yeah, for Israeli families and the people of Gaza. God damn, dude. Just really stick in that fucking shiv to differentiate that the people of Gaza are not, they don't have the same type of values as the people of Israel and the people in our country do. We should all be encouraged and relieved that an end to the conflict is within sight, that those hostages still being held will be reunited with their families, and that vital aid can start reaching those inside Gaza whose lives have been shattered. More than that, though, it now falls on Israelis and Palestinians, with the support of the U.S. and the entire world community, to begin the hard task of rebuilding Gaza, and to commit to a process that, by recognizing the common humanity and basic rights of both peoples, can achieve a lasting peace. What do we got here? But why does one get families and one call the people? Sounds like a clear way to make one group seem more important. Okay, so what does he say? He says that Of Gaza, we should all be encouraged and relieved that an end to the conflict is within sight, that those hostages still being held will be reunited with their families. Bro, it boggles my mind. There's 20 hostages in Gaza right now. Israel's releasing 2,000. Who knows how many hostages they actually have? And they're like, oh, we're gonna release 2,000, including all of the children that we have. Oh, including all of the children. You can just snap your fingers and release them. Well, if you can snap your fingers and release them, that doesn't seem like they're combatants. That doesn't seem like they did actual crimes to justify being kidnapped by Israel. So it's literally like, oh yeah, 20 people here, 2,000 here. It's like 100. It's 100 times more hostages are being released from Israel. And we're acting like the only hostages are those in Gaza? What the fuck? What the fuck are we talking? What are we doing, man? No mention? That's a massive part. That's the reason Hamas took hostages in the first place. To get hostages out of Israel. How is that not a bigger talking point? Hamas took hostages? Well, that's because the only way to get hostages out of Israel is by doing hostage exchanges. And we know that Israel values their hostages at like 100 to 1 odds. And the vital aid can start reaching those inside Gaza whose lives have been shattered. Yeah, why was that aid not reaching those inside Gaza? More than that, though, it now falls on Israelis and Palestinians with the support of the US and the entire world community to begin the hard task of rebuilding Gaza. I fucking love that. We genocided you for 24 months and bombed every single fucking building there. Well, now it's on us and you to rebuild. Now the hard task is put upon the Israelis and the Palestinians for rebuilding Gaza. I wonder why Israel doesn't need to be rebuilt. I wonder why, because it's such like a both sides conflict, right? Except one side got like 99.9% damaged, and the other side got what? A fence was not even broken down, but flown over. A few grenades were dropped. Inside of parapets within Israel. What a shitty statement from our former president. Honestly, dude, just go away. Is Obama doing anything of value anymore? Not that he did much of value anyway, but since he's retired, he's been just as bad, I guess. I shouldn't say he's been even worse. What is this by Slate? The real reason he forced Netanyahu's hand. Oh, because he wanted the Nobel Peace Prize. That's why. I'm not going to pay for the article.
The ceasefire agreement with Hamas in Gaza.
Dude, yeah, you don't have to tell me my Obama impression is bad. I did it just to fuck with you guys.
Gaza.
It hurt me to do it too.
Is now around 12 hours old. The partial withdrawal of Israeli forces from the territory triggered a mass return of people back to shattered towns and villages. But the Israeli Defense Forces still remain in control of at least half of Gaza. Nevertheless, in a matter of hours, as many as 200,000 Palestinians made the long journey back home on foot after being displaced by the fighting. Now, though, the bombing has stopped. Well, the ceasefire came into effect today once it had been approved by the Israeli government. Under the deal, Israel pulled back its troops to agreed positions in Gaza, marked here, as you can see, by the yellow line. However, the IDF says it will continue to remove any immediate threat. Now, with the withdrawal triggered a 72-hour countdown to midday on Monday, by which time Hamas must release the remaining 20 living Israeli hostages and return the remains of 28 who are dead. For its part, Israel must release 250 Palestinians from jail, as well as 1,700 people detained in Gaza.
Dude. Oh, 20 people compared to 1,700 detainees. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a big difference between the hostages and the detainees. Why don't they say the 20 detainees that Hamas has? Because that's more sanitized language, and it's not as associated with the idea of Muslim terrorists as the word hostage is. Holy shit, dude. Oh, yeah, so they're even making the distinction between the prisoners that Israel has and the non-prisoner. What do you call someone who's like was just taken from their home, illegally taken from their home, and they didn't actually like go through a trial or anything, but they're being confined to a spot and like no information is being given out about them, but it's just, you know, they were just snatched up and now they're being held in some kind of underground location. We're gonna call them a detainee, okay? All right, we're gonna call them a detainee, but not the ones that Hamas took, right? Not the ones that are within Gaza being held by the Palestinians
during the war. Remember, all this is part of phase 1 of the agreement. A deal on phase 2, the rebuilding and future governance of Gaza, still needs to be hammered out, with much of the detail sketchy and far from settled. Israel does not allow international journalists into Gaza. We're not allowed to see for ourselves what's going on. So Jeremy Bowen has the very latest from Jerusalem.
It must be a terrible journey. Up to 20 miles on foot for thousands of Gaza's Palestinians, deprived by Israel's blockades of adequate food and clean water. A ride north in a car to Gaza City costs around £900.
God damn.
Impossible money for people who've lost everything. Earlier this morning, before Israel's military, the IDF, had pulled back. Its tanks opened fire to warn the people not to move further along the road until the ceasefire. Crowd control.
Why?
Using shells.
What do you mean until the ceasefire? These are civilians, dude. You're saying these are combatants? If you come closer to the city, we're gonna shoot you. Holy shit, man. Just like evil up until the very last moment.
On social media, the IDF told them to stay on the coast road and warned that going near Israeli troops would endanger their lives. They're returning to a world of rubble in Gaza City. Fida Haraz wanted to find something, maybe a mattress, she said, as winter is coming. But she couldn't even find the ruins of her home, as there is so much destruction.
I knew it was levelled, but where is it? I can't find it. What do we do with our lives? Where will we live? It was a multi-storey building, but it's all gone.
It's clear that this last offensive by Israel into Gaza City flattened civilian homes on a massive scale. If that is without a military purpose, it amounts to a war crime.
If it's without military purpose, it amounts to a war crime. No, thank you for that. Of every single home, it's every single home, man. Hamas is all of us, I guess. Hamas is just the friends we made along the way. Israel's just turned into a fucking anime villain. What is this bullshit?
The IDF would...
Like, it's like the fucking moon. It's like these people are like, I can't wait to go back from one pile of rubble to another pile of rubble. Great. This is the ceasefire we're all celebrating. 2,000 Palestinians being released from Israel.
Pulled back to the agreed new line by around midday. It still leaves Israel occupying more than half of the Gaza Strip. Clause 4 of the ceasefire agreement says that the IDF will not return to areas they've withdrawn from as long as Hamas fully implements its side of the bargain. Is that Benjamin Netanyahu's decision? Donald Trump's? It's not clear. Potentially, there are some big problems ahead in the implementation of the Trump 20-point peace plan, which is light on detail. Now, for example, It says that weapons must be placed permanently beyond use through an agreed process of decommissioning. There is no agreed process. Hamas wants to keep some weapons. Israel says they must all go. Armed men from Hamas Internal Security, the unit most feared by Palestinians, have emerged in Gaza City. Hamas wants to show it's not beaten. This is not what Israel wants to see.
We are encircling Hamas from all.
It's two guys with assault rifles. The entire IDF has taken over half of Gaza still. They still control half of Gaza. And it's two guys with assault rifles, and they're like, this is a massive security threat to the well-being of Israel. I don't know, man. If two guys with assault rifles can threaten your country's security, not really a good ass country then? Like get good? Increase, like do better as a country?
All directions ahead of the next stages of the plan, in which Hamas will be disarmed and Gaza will be demilitarized. If this is achieved the easy way, all the better. And if not, it will be achieved the hard way.
He said his strategy is bringing the hostages home and called it a tremendous achievement in the war of redemption. Israel has told the UN it can bring in much more humanitarian aid from next week. This was a commercial shipment heading north through Gaza City. But the UN has its own lorries waiting to bring in 172,000 tons of supplies stockpiled just outside Gaza. More than 2 million people need food, clean water, shelter, and medical care. And 700,000 children who've had little or no education for 2 years need temporary classrooms. At last, there is a chance, as long as the ceasefire holds. Jeremy Bowen, BBC News, Jerusalem.
More from Jeremy.
Yeah, and what happened to the last ceasefire? Netanyahu broke it. He's like, if we can do this the easy way, good. But if we can't, then we'll do it the hard way.
A little later, but as we've been hearing, thousands of Gazans are now returning home. But what will they find when they get there? A warning, Lucy Williamson's report does contain.
Also, like he says, more than 2 million Palestinians. Really? You're going to say more than 2 million Palestinians? It's just like complete misinformation at that point. I think it was 2 million Palestinians in Gaza 2 years ago. And then they just underwent 2 years of genocide.
And some distressing images.
No one looked at the rubble around them. Even with the buildings gone, their feet knew the way home. The centre of Khan Yunis reopened to residents today after Israel withdrew its forces. A quiet procession that went on and on.
The situation is tragic. There are no houses, there are no streets, there is nothing. There is no life.
In Gaza City too, people were returning. Mohammed found the path to his old front door in Sheikh Radwan, despite the path and the door having gone. Sandwiched in the wreckage, a time capsule from his old life. A jacket, perfectly preserved in a suitcase.
Wow.
A familiar shirt.
The first moment I saw the house was very difficult. It brought back memories of my late father, my late mother, my siblings and my childhood. I honestly wish I never had to experience this moment. It was indescribable, as if I was dreaming.
Mohammed Zaghot walked home from Deir Bala, a 5-hour trek. Hoping to find shelter for his family, including his injured son. His house identified by scraps of clothing, an old teaching certificate. But the building is now so shattered that even a slight tug to free a shirt threatens to bring it down.
Yeah, we just need to put this into perspective. This is the shelter they are going towards. This isn't the ruins that they're leaving. This is the good part of Gaza that they're moving, because outside of this city, like it's just barren wasteland. They can't, like, it's unlivable areas. And then they come back here, and this is the shelter that they're trying to reach. This is where they hope to be able to get sheltered, in these ruins.
When I felt
And like, this is the point. This isn't the byproduct. This isn't the side effect of Israel going after Hamas. This is the point. The point is make Gaza an unlivable place for Palestinians, so they leave. That's the point of Israel doing all of this.
first got here, I honestly didn't recognize it. If it weren't for the neighbors who told me where it was, I wouldn't know. The area's landmarks have changed, like an earthquake hit it. There is no house left.
2 years of war has shattered Gaza's buildings, but rebuilding lives will be just as hard. The Al-Najjar family tent in the west of Khan Yunis is emptier than it was before. Less than a week before the ceasefire, their 11-year-old son, Marman, was killed collecting firewood in the city centre. His mother, Harish, said she doesn't sleep and cries for him constantly.
This isn't a moment of joy. There is no joy at all. I can't believe it was after Mu'min was killed that Hamas agreed to the deal.
I mean, dude, honestly, like, people online and in real life that are celebrating this ceasefire they're kind of pieces of shit, man. They're kind of pieces of shit. This ceasefire, first of all, has a snowball's chance in hell of actually holding. Like, there's absolutely no reason to believe that by this day next month, Israel's not going to be back to bombing and killing 30, 40 Palestinians a day. There's absolutely no reason to believe that once they get the hostages back, they're not going to come up with another excuse to start killing more Palestinians. The other thing is, this ceasefire, sure, like, it's great. The ceasefire is what lost Kamala Harris the election, right? People demanding a ceasefire, her ignoring these demands, and kind of like demeaning and belittling Palestinian protesters, or like pro-Palestinian protesters, for a ceasefire now. This is what people have been after for so long. But I've always said, this is the first step in rectifying this situation. Like, not only do we need massive amounts of money poured into Palestine in order to help these people rebuild and give them the quality of life that they deserve, but we need to hold Israeli officials accountable for this. We need to hold American officials accountable for this. The devastating loss of life and just like the traumatic physical and emotional and mental impacts on these people is going to fuck this country over for generations, man. Like, we talk about how there's generational trauma from the Holocaust. This is going to be the exact same thing. It's going to be the exact same thing. And like, yeah, the outcome of the Holocaust is an ethno-state for Jewish people because no one wanted to take the Jews. So are we just going to see another cycle of this shit where it's like, oh, well, let's pick a new marginalized group target, and then we can go send Palestinians there, and they can take over a piece of land with backing from America, and we can do another regime change in that area and another pogrom, and then it's going to repeat over and over again. But like, it's just so devastating. These people are literally digging through rubble, trying to find some kind of place where they can get out of the elements and have some kind of semblance of culture or of shelter. And you get people like, why aren't leftists celebrating this? Wow, they must really be trying to grift off of genocide. You must be sad. Oh, leftists aren't talking about the ceasefire and like pumping their fists in the air and crying from happiness. They must really be sad that their grift is coming to an end. And then you see the reality of the situation. It's like these people are utterly devastated because their 11-year-old son was killed like a day before the ceasefire ended because an Israeli tank just wanted to get one last shot in before he had to withdraw back to the 50% of Gaza range. And I'm being yelled at because I'm not clicking my heels when I'm jumping for joy.
Anyone whose heart isn't broken can feel joy today, but no joy can enter a broken heart.
Harish buried her son last week in a grave far from home. Their house in eastern Khan Yunis is still inaccessible, beyond the line Israeli troops have withdrawn to in this first stage of the deal. The war may have stopped, but this family is still in limbo, unable to go home, unable to move on. Lucy Williamson, BBC News, Jerusalem.
Well, what about this side of the front line? Since those attacks by Hamas a little more than 2 years ago, the families of those Israelis taken hostage have held a very public memorial here in Tel Aviv, in this plaza opposite the main art museum. We've been speaking throughout the day to some of those families about their relief that a ceasefire deal is now in place and about their hopes of being reunited with kidnapped family and friends.
This place of healing and devotion to the missing has sustained so many during a profound time of grief. Hostage Square, as it's become known, has been a meeting place where hope has been kept alive. That one day, all the captives will be freed. For those here, the clock has ticked down, but time has stood still since October the 7th, 2023.
I want it all taken down because it means they're all home.
Naomi Patel Adler survived the Hamas attack, hiding out in a bomb shelter. But some of her friends on the kibbutz were led away. What are your thoughts today? What are you thinking?
Cautiously trying to breathe. I'm cautiously reminding myself that maybe we can go back to being genuinely happy, genuinely calm, that it might actually be over, that
It's so endlessly triggering that these people are sitting there, what, like 4 or 5 miles away from just devastated families living in rubble, not knowing what to do, like on the edge of starvation. And these people are like, I can't wait for it to be finally over, and then we can be truly happy again. Like, I can't. This whole genocide has just ruined horror movies for me because I can't think of anything scarier than someone like this. Like, some of the scariest horror movies are people that are seemingly normal, and then you realize that they're utterly alien to you. Like The Shining, where the guy goes crazy over time, and someone that you can rely on, someone like a father figure, a husband, like a loyal employee, he goes completely crazy because of the environment that he's in, and it turns you from a human. He still has the shape of a human, he still sounds like a human, he can even give you some kind of emotional affect every now and then. He's completely gone, and that's terrifying. He can be smiling, he can be happy, and then the next moment he can be throwing a fucking axe into your chest cavity and cutting up your heart, speaking with ghosts. Oh, open the door, Johnny. Open the door. I'm your dad. Open the door. Open the door. Open the door. You have like characters like the person in the Babadook, where she's like, you know, she's a single mom. She's dealing with stress. She loves her kid, even though the kid's a little bit hyperactive and she gets on her nerves. And then all of a sudden, she gets possessed by a demon. And now she's like, she goes from a normal person. She can still appear normal. She can still appear nice and happy. But she's a fucking cold stone killer that will kill this kid because it's an annoyance to her. Then you get this shit and you realize that was just art reflecting life. You have people that, because of the policies they support, because of the people that are in charge of them, the people they've elected to represent their interests, doing unspeakable, just the worst tragedies imaginable that humankind can do to other humans. And you have this reaction. I can't wait to finally be happy. And then just completely turning a blind eye to the unimaginable human suffering just like a few miles away from her, in an area that her country is in control of and has directly caused the devastation for the purpose of causing devastation. And then she has the fucking, like, just unnerving, just sending shivers down my spine, just the complete lack of empathy to say I can finally truly be happy because we're going to get the hostages back. It really has ruined all kind of horror movies, because there is nothing you can write that's ever going to be scarier than this person who seems like a normal person but is actually just a soulless monster, just has been turned into a completely soulless monster, like a facsimile of a human being, but with absolutely no empathy and actually just utter disdain for the people that she is considered to be subhuman and beneath her. I can be truly happy that we've carried out this genocide, and now we can get like the people that I deem as real human beings back. I can be truly happy again.
Trying to breathe. I'm cautiously reminding myself that maybe we can go back to being genuinely happy, genuinely calm, that it might actually be over, that these people might be going home to their families, might be coming home and being released to their families, and maybe that I can go back home also.
So this is your father?
Where was she?
Yeah, and that way...
Is that the day he was kidnapped?
Yeah.
Yuli Ben-Ami's father and her mother were captured by Hamas, but later released. There is a measure of survivor's guilt here for those who came through the fire. How have they coped with?
So when my mom...
The BBC is desperately trying to humanize these Israelis, and it's not working, man. Like, the more you talk to Israelis, the more unhuman they seem.
Mom came back, my father was left behind, and it was very hard for her to recover. And then when my father came back, my mom could breathe more, but she still thought about the person that are still there. Everyone felt guilty in some way. I feel guilty because I survived and there was people that not. So I think everyone has some guilt.
It is a twisted but understandable shame. The promise now is that soon this meeting place will be no more. All the remaining hostages, alive and dead, will be released. The tents and memorials, pictures and sorrow will be gone. Life can begin again.
Jeremy Bowen is live in Jerusalem. Jeremy, the ceasefire...
I just, it's so hard for me, I guess, as someone who cares about, like, human well-being. It's so hard for me to understand the mentality of, oh, well, I'm Israeli and I care about Israelis, and the people that are like 10 miles that way, I don't care about them at all. Like, they can go burn in hell for all I care. Like, I can't imagine just treating humans that way. It's so baffling to me. And it's not natural. This is the result of just really centuries of racism and hate, and people utilizing racism and hate to attain power, and then they need to maintain that power by acting on that racism and hate. That's kind of just the truth of fascism. And yeah, this is not a natural thing. Like the people on this arbitrary border that we just completely made up. The people on this side of it are real humans. The people on that side are literally worse than dogs. We see how people reacted about Hassan shocking Kaya. That blew up the internet. But a Palestinian 11-year-old getting killed by an Israeli sniper or an IDF bomb while going out and getting water. No one cares about that. It's less than a dog the way we treat Palestinians. Yeah, I mean, I really just don't understand that. It's such a foreign concept to me.
It's underway, but it's still a potentially bumpy road ahead, with the Israelis still having to work out which Palestinian prisoners they want to release.
Well, they've come up with a list, and maybe it's not a final list, we don't quite know, but the top 6 that Hamas wanted out, who are regarded by the Israelis as terrorist kingpins, they are not being let out. Now, one of them is actually not a Hamas guy, Mr. Barghouti, who is seen by a lot of people actually as a potential future president. He's seen by some as the Palestinian Nelson Mandela. Now, letting those people go, not just those 6 who are staying in jail, but also there are lifers and 1,700 people who've been picked up and held without trial. Now, they're all seen as national heroes by the Palestinians, but once all that is done and it's the price Israel's paying for the hostage release, then there's some really difficult negotiation ahead about how to interpret that 20-point Trump document which started this whole process off. And what are the clear things in it, actually?
I'm sorry, like the whole idea of like, oh my god, peace is so complicated. No, it's not. Like, Israel pulls out of Gaza, and then it doesn't invade Gaza again, it doesn't bomb Gaza again, and you let aid in, and you start rebuilding. Like, this is not complicated at all. You feed people, and then if you feed them, and you treat them like real human beings, they're not going to have a reason to attack Israel. But like, yeah, if you keep fucking bombing them and doing a concentration camp on them, then that's going to lead for them to want to fight back. It's a very easy thing. Like, the idea that it's so complicated, it's not true. You know what's complicated? Netanyahu's position, because he doesn't want to give up the claim that we have a national emergency, that we need to keep invading all of these countries. That's complicated. That's a complicated political situation. The idea of bringing peace to this area is not complicated whatsoever. Oh my god. Yeah, 170,000, or not 170,000, 1,700 Palestinians getting released, but they're prisoners. They're the prisoners. I mean, let's hope that this lasts, man. I really do hope that it lasts. Do we have a Palestinian peace here? The Hassan situation, intro with Martin, we got the Hassan dog collar. Italy, really nothing about Palestine here? What about this one? Ethan Klein said that he keeps the plight of the Palestinians at the top of his mind. Where are the timestamps? No timestamps on here. Let's look this up. Palestine. You literally justified max extermination of Palestinians. Nope, nothing. Did he not talk about the Palestinian peace at all? Like, he does say that he keeps the plight of the Palestinians at the top of his mind, right? He streamed like 4 hours ago. 5-6 hours ago. Wow, he's really dropping. New AI. He got scared. Dad talk. Oh, no Palestinian peace plan. Somehow I'm not surprised at that. Let's just look up the,
Happy October Fest.
Let's just look up the transcript really quick. Transcript. Nope. No mention of Palestine here. Maybe Gaza? Nope, no Gaza. Oh, Gila's on. Yeah, I think you're right. It was Gila. I do want to talk about Asmongold real quick, and then we'll get into the who are these? 147 views. It's weird you're holding on to it like she's coming. What is this drama that I just stumbled in upon? Okay, what the fuck? This is weird shit. Asmongold argues that voting rights should be stripped from 85% of Americans during a live stream. Where's the clip? Give me the clip. Give me the clip.
If I had my way, I would disenfranchise 85% of the population instantly. I would take away their right to vote, and they would be saying after 10 years, 20 years, thank you. Thank you so much for removing this burden from us. We no longer have to worry about this. We don't have to deal with this anymore. You're just going to have the people that are in charge deal with the issues about getting rid of the bottom 2%? Absolutely, yes. And so that's it. That's what I would do.
The bottom 2%?
You're just going to have the people that are in charge deal with the issues about getting rid of the bottom 2%? Absolutely, yes. And so that's it. That's what I would do. There are too many dumb people out there. And back in the day, we used to have presidents like Thomas Jefferson. And now we have presidents like George W. Bush. Nope. Not anymore. Think about how close Kamala Harris came to winning the presidency, and then tell me that democracy is a good idea.
You're advocating for disenfranchising yourself. Like you do realize Donald Trump's like Donald Trump got a lot of poor people. He got a lot of the quote unquote dumb people. Asmongold, sorry, my camera was in it. Asmongold is so dumb he doesn't even know how to say Kamala Harris's name properly. Kamala Harris. Okay, so yeah, he just disenfranchised people. No. How about we just let people vote so they can have self-determination, which is kind of like a basic idea of human existence in society. That's kind of like what this country was, not really what it was built off of, but kind of what the liberal values are built off of, where every person should be able to have the same type of input as every other person. Like if you're saying that some people shouldn't be able to vote, you are just an advocate for like kind of race science. Like you're just saying that not everyone is equal and people should have lesser rights. Like if we're talking about people having lesser rights based off of IQ, I don't think that would bode well for you or your fans. And the reason I'm saying that isn't to be insulting, it's to demonstrate that this is a bad policy. If you are an advocate of policies based off of intrinsic characteristics such as race, gender, or IQ, which isn't even a real thing, by the way, it's just like pseudoscience, then those policies can come back to bite you. And not can, but inevitably will. When you use politics, when you use a politics of scapegoating and power and hatred, your group will inevitably become the target of that same hatred. There is going to be an in-group, and that in-group is going to be the powerful group. It's like the Aryans in Nazi Germany. Here, it's like white people, and the scapegoat are like Hispanic people. We need to target Hispanic people. We need to target trans people. There's always going to be an in-group, and there's always going to be an out-group. You have no kind of power to determine whether you're going to be in the in-group. So why don't, instead of advocating for a type of politic that you kind of just have to be lucky in order to prosper, and everyone else is going to just like experience horrible conditions because of your politics, Why not advocate for a politics that rewards everyone and treats everyone equally, and it can help everyone? Like, this is just fascist ideology. It is distilled through some of the stupidest type of commentary online. Like, Asmongold has to be the dumbest political commentator online. I don't think there's really an argument against that. Ethan Klein, smarter than him. Who else is really stupid? Tommy Lauren. Actually, I don't know. Maybe Asmongold has Tommy Lauren beat. Candace Owens easily beats Asmongold. Who else is there? Megyn Kelly blows him out of the water. Honestly, anyone on Fox News blows him out of the water. Tommy Lauren, Dave Rubin? I think Dave Rubin's smarter than him. I think he is. Tim Pool, definitely smarter than Asmongold. Yeah, Asmon. Like, if you're advocating for people to have lesser rights based off of IQ, I don't think that's something you'd want to be advocating for. But of course, like, he's white, he's rich, so that's what he's really advocating for, right? Like, rich people. At the end of the day, he's going to say based off of IQ because that makes him seem edgy, but the actual power differential, the actual power discrepancy that people get, like, subjugated by is their access to wealth. It's their relationship to wealth.
People that are in charge deal with the issues about getting rid of the bottom 2%? Absolutely, yes. And so that's it. That's what I would do.
Tim Pool, I don't think Tim Pool's that, like, I don't think he's smart. I just think he's lazy as hell. Like, he's actually a really lazy guy. Like, yeah, he reads only the first line of an article, but that's just because he's lazy and he doesn't want to do any reading. And also, the truth defeats his politics, and so Tim Pool is just famous for reading the first line of an article and then lying about what the rest of the article says.
People that are in charge deal with the issues about getting rid of the bottom 2%? Absolutely, yes. And so that's it. That's what I would do. There are too many dumb people out there. And back in the day, we used to have presidents like Thomas Jefferson. And now we have presidents like George W. Bush. Nope. Not anymore. Think about how close Kamala Harris came to winning the presidency, and then tell me that democracy is a good idea. Oh, we gotta do something about this quick.
First of all, Kamala Harris's election wasn't even like a democratically situated candidacy. Like, she did not win any kind of primary. She was handpicked by Joe Biden, let's just be honest, because of her demographic attributes. And then she was foisted onto the Democratic Party at the last minute, at like the 11 o'clock hour, because of Joe Biden's failing presidency. And it was done out of spite by Joe Biden. Joe Biden forced her onto the Democratic voting base out of spite to Obama and Nancy Pelosi, who wanted to have a quick Democratic primary so that we could actually like democratically elect a candidate to represent Democratic voters. So nothing about Kamala Harris was democratic in the idea that she was selected by the people of the United States. But also, if you're going to say that, like, democracy doesn't work because she almost won, well, she lost, you motherfucking idiot. She didn't win the election. So wouldn't that be a point in favor of democracy? Like, the guy you wanted to win won. Oh, but it was close. Oh my God. It was close. So, but she didn't win. Something wrong on so many levels.
Things are going to get real bad. Oh, yeah. And yeah, they're dumbass, but disagree. I tell you that is, and the thing is that, guys, clip it. I'm ahead of the curve. I'm just ahead of the curve. This is going to be a bigger conversation every year.
Dude, this is like 200 years behind the curve, back to when only men with land could vote. What do you? No, you're not. This is like 250 years behind the curve. This is a regressive idea. The fact that he's pretending like he's some kind of like liberal visionary thinker that's just like, I've come up with a great new solution. We'll have only landowners vote. Well, we'll go back to the Magna Carta when only lords and their vassals can vote to see what direction the country should take. Every 7 years, when the moon is full, and 3 days after the eclipse, we're going to convene in this grand hall of the central United States, and then we will decide where the country should go.
It's going to be a bigger conversation, a bigger issue, and so too fucking close, yet way too close. And so just wait out. How people move up? Well, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's not about that. It's about making sure that the government isn't run by retards. That's it.
I can't believe it. I can't believe that he's like, we have to get rid of democracy so that the government runs smoother. Dude, do you realize who's in charge right now? Donald Trump just picked people that he saw on TV to run his What are we doing, bro? Donald Trump drooled into his shirt while after eating like a hamburger, watching Fox News, and is like, that's the guy I want in my administration. I want Pete Hegseth in my administration. I want Kirsty Noem in my administration. He's a fucking moron. He's actually just brain dead. What the fuck are we doing? Oh my god. Okay, so that was Asmongold number 1. Gold number 2. Let's go.
The gun. I don't know. I think anybody who's going around and trying to hit police officers or anything like that, that's just, there's no reason why anybody should be supporting that. I think, yeah, that base. No, I think, again, I've said this, well, maybe you should just use the gun. I don't know. I think anybody who's going around and trying to hit police officers or anything like that, that's just, there's no reason why anybody should be supporting that. I think, yeah, that base. No, I think, again, I've said this before, I think they should use actual ammo, and if anybody throws a rock or tries to harm one of the police officers, I think they should just use deadly force to stop it from happening. There's no reason why anybody should be putting up with that, and it's disgusting, honestly.
There's no reason why anybody should be putting up with a rock being thrown at them without actually just opening fire on them. Like, once again, this is just Asmongold being like, oh, well, like, the people I like are real people, and the people I don't like are subhuman scum that I don't even consider to be living beings. And there's no reason to actually treat them as such. Like, dude, ICE is beating the shit out of people for no reason. Sometimes they're beating the shit out of people out of spite. They're illegally kidnapping people. That's all bad stuff, Asmongold. That's all bad. Shooting people that are protesting that is also bad. The police shooting people that throw rocks at the police is also bad. Throwing rocks is not the same as shooting police officers. Do you understand that, buddy? Like, we shouldn't be killing people because that can lead to bad consequences in society. Because killing people is bad, Asmon. Like, do we need to go back to elementary school? Killing people, not even elementary school, like before preschool. You shouldn't kill people.
No reason why anybody should be putting up with that, and it's disgusting, honestly, that there's so many people that are okay with it. Yeah, shoot on sight? Absolutely. Yeah, of course. Set an example? Yeah.
Like, let's just really quick. Throwing rocks versus shooting someone in the head. Which is worse? If Asmongold thinks throwing rocks is bad, then shooting people in the head should also be bad. If he thinks violence is bad, then we shouldn't do more violence. Even if it's against violence, even if the violence is against people that Asmongold hates. Because I don't think that just because you hate a group of people means that their lives are worse, right? It means that their lives are worth less and you can do more violence to them for like the slightest infraction. Like, this is the exact mentality that led to the genocide, right? Oh, Hamas tried to take hostages on October 7th and killed Israeli soldiers, well, we have to kill hundreds of thousands of Palestinians now in order to punish them. Oh, you threw a rock at a cop? Well, I'm going to shoot you in the face now because you dared to insult me and humiliate me in front of my friends. Like, this is the exact same type of elitist, really, it's like privileged, but just the empowered mentality of I'm right and these people that try to resist me are like subhuman scum, that I have the right to do anything I want to them. Like, every frame is a confused Asmon face.
And keep committing crimes.
That'll only increase the riots? You'd really be surprised how fast it stops after more than 1 or 2 people get shot for being violent.
Really? Yeah, you'd be surprised how fast it stops being rocks thrown at ICE agents if they start opening fire on people.
More than 1 or 2 people get shot for being violent. It would stop.
Like, dude, you do realize America is the most gun ownership in the world, right?
Shot for being violent. It would stop immediately.
What is it, like 3 guns in America for every person in America? I don't think you really want to open up that box of using live ammo on protesters. Dude, in America, you do not want to do that. Okay, so you know what? Man, these I want to cover ICE, but honestly, guys, I need to like take a break from bits and shit. So this is what I'm going to do. This was a funny TikTok that I saw. We're going to react to that. We're going to react to this TikTok. And I'm going to play some stabby, shieldy, and I'm going to shut off these lights while I do it. This is Friday late night stream mode. All right, we're in the late night stream mode. Okay, so this was really sad. I saw this posted on, you can guess where I saw this posted. This video brought to you by Wonton Amera was posted onto the H3H3 subreddit, and with the caption, "Oh my god, it's so nice to see someone talking about things that I agree with." That was the caption of the video. I'm like, okay, this is going to be interesting. I wonder what the video is about. And so I click on it. And it's honestly kind of sad. Like, the thoughts in this video are so jumbled and so broken, really, that it's kind of astounding just how little sense it really makes. So let's just get into it.
That we talk about what I'm dubbing the authoritarian left. And the reason I feel like it's important for us to
Oh my god, I just fell off the cliff. Why is this audio so low? Why is the audio so low? Here. Audio.
Is that it will help us understand the rise of far-right ideology. I think a lot of people keep zooming in and trying to understand what it is about this rise of far-right extremism, not just in the United States, but around the world. But I think it's important that we zoom out and we see the full picture.
I'm sorry, guys. This is horribly low audio.
What I'm dubbing the authoritarian.
I can't hear it at all. Can you guys hear this? I have it maxed up on my output. And I have to turn up the volume on my end.
I think it's time that we talk about what I'm dubbing the authoritarian left. And the reason I feel like it's important for us to finally talk about this group of people is that it will help us understand the rise of far-right ideology. I think a lot of people keep zooming in and trying to understand what it is about this rise of far-right extremism, not just in the United States, but around the world. But I think it's important that we zoom out and we see the full picture. And that full picture, in my opinion, includes what I'm dubbing.
Just gonna, sorry, don't turn up your, I'm gonna just raise my I'm gonna try to raise my output levels here. Audio output capture filters. And just increase the gain to increase it. And going to try to not blow out your speakers. And by the way, is my audio low? That's what I've always been wondering. Do you guys find yourself having to turn up my audio, and then when you go watch other stuff, it's like way too loud? Am I like maxing out your speakers? Because I can potentially like increase the gain on that. I think I'm like a little low right now, but so we can go there. And then let's try this.
I think it's time that we talk about what I'm dubbing the authoritarian left. And the reason I feel like it's important for us to finally talk about this group of people is that it will help us understand the rise of far-right ideology.
Yeah, my voice is too loud now. You guys are just saying no in here. Usually good for me. Okay. All right, well, that's good to know. I think it was that like okay. Too loud right now. How is her audio?
I think a lot of people keep zooming in and trying to understand what it is about.
Okay, sorry. I'm going to have to rewind this for like the 5th time, but what? You guys can't even see it. You guys can't even see what I'm playing.
I think it's time that we talk about what I'm dubbing the authoritarian left. And the reason I feel like it's important for us to finally talk about this group of people is that it will help us understand the rise of far-right ideology. I think
so we need to talk about the authoritarian left because it will help us understand the rise of far-right ideology. So I'm not playing this video, and I don't think this person really talks about politics that much. Wonton Amera. Let's just take a quick look at her TikTok page. What's this video?
Information about him, like he can't clean or he doesn't. Maybe I'm crazy, and there is a strong possibility that that is the case. But what do you mean that you've been with a man so long that you're married to said man, and you don't know some key pieces of information about him, like he can't clean or he doesn't know how to grocery shop? What do you guys talk about? This is something that constantly baffles me. I'm not gonna lie. When people say, I've been with
Okay, so like relationship stuff. So this is just her random ass thoughts that she's posting. So I'm not trying to like make fun of this person or insult her in any way. But this is a brain rotted position that you arrive at on politics when you get constantly bombarded by, honestly, the mainstream media that insists on equivocating both sides, the right and the left, as the same thing. And actually, the extreme right is the same thing as the extreme left. This is something that you hear from anywhere from like CNN to Ethan Klein on his podcast. This is kind of a normie position, but in reality, it's extremely brain broken. And as more and more people are getting radicalized by the Trump administration, it's become the normie position is becoming like a woke anti-fascist liberal. Like it's still like, oh, I'm still gonna like, I still love Obama, but fuck Trump, fuck ICE. That's kind of becoming the normie position, at least among liberal voters. I don't know about conservative voters, but like, sure, you can be politically unengaged and arrive at this. I think this is an idea that a lot of people hold in their minds about politics, but I just want to cover this because it is so departed from any kind of substance and any kind of grounding in reality that it is honestly quite sad that the seemingly nice, she's like popular on TikTok, she talks about like lifestyle stuff, and go over her most popular videos, but seemingly like nice normal person comes out with this completely batshit take that really is kind of the result of brainwashing. So let's get into it. Let's jump back into it and listen to the 6th time.
I think it's time that we talk about what I'm dubbing the authoritarian left. And the reason I feel like it's important for us to finally talk about this group of people is that it will help us understand the rise of far-right ideology. I think a lot of people keep zooming in and trying to
So she wants to talk about the authoritarian left because it will help her understand the rise of far-right ideology. Which there is some kind of dynamic there, right? Like, okay, well, why does reactionary, like, what is the far-right ideology? What are people reactionary against? What are they scapegoating? What are they using as a target of their hate? How do leftists try to combat that? And what are leftists trying to progress? Where are leftists and far left people trying to like make a difference in the world? What is happening with all of that stuff? And like it is valuable to think about. I think a big way of looking at the rise of far right ideology, though, a good way of looking at that, if you want to understand where it's coming from, is looking at historical examples of an increase in far right ideology, like the Nazis.
Understand what it is about this rise of far-right extremism, not just in the United States, but around the world. But I think it's important that we zoom out and we see the full picture. And that full picture, in my opinion, includes what I'm dubbing the authoritarian left. And in fact, if you step outside of internet spaces for 2 seconds, you'll realize that most people fall under a category called the middle ground majority. But the second you enter internet spaces, it seems like you're either far right or authoritarian left. I'll first start with a psychological definition of the authoritarian left because I feel like that is the best way to explain the underpinnings and the motivations of this group, because I think it's important to separate the motivations of the authoritarian left and the general left. Like, I'm a liberal, I'm a leftist, but I don't identify as an authoritarian.
So good. I'm a liberal. I'm a leftist. I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna get this. I'm a liberal, I'm a leftist, but I don't identify as the authoritarian left. Ooh. I could have gotten a crit hit off of that. Oh, God. Nice, killed him. Only 450. I'm trying to grind right now. Lost so many coins. Battle. Okay, I'm just gonna for that here. Okay, so what are we talking about here? How the authoritarian left causes fascism to happen? So like I do love how she's getting called out in the comments here. The authoritarian left, okay man. I'm a liberal, I'm a leftist. Authoritarian left, okay. As a raging leftist, I cannot stand a lot of online liberal spaces groups for this reason. No room for learning, nuance, growth, mistakes. They treat leftism like religion. So yeah, you got a lot of like brain broken stuff here. Dude, I've listened to the end and I'm confused because are you blaming the rise of the far right on what you call the authoritarian left? Okay, let's just, I pause this a lot.
Left. The first part is identity substitution. When people lack tangible power or political wins, moral superiority becomes a substitute for identity.
Oh, that was really that was painfully why is the background black? Okay. Link to. So what was this? No power. No power. So when we have a lack of power.
So it's left. Like, I'm a liberal, I'm a leftist, but I don't identify as an authoritarian left. The first part is identity.
She wrote this down too. She wrote it down.
Substitution. When people lack tangible power or political wins, moral superiority becomes a substitute for identity.
This is identity substitution. Identity. I feel like I'm making a Khan Academy video right now. Done. Identity substitution. What is the definition of identity substitution? No power equals replacing their personality. Oh god, that was horrible writing. What did she say?
So it's not about necessarily because I don't identify as an authoritarian left. The first part is identity substitution. When people lack tangible power or political wins, moral superiority becomes a substitute for identity.
No power equals moral superiority. Moral superiority becomes substitute for, yes, you guys are having to read my very shitty handwriting. No power. When you have no power, when no power equals moral superiority becomes a substitute for identity. That is the identity substitution. Okay. So when the authoritarian left has power, then moral superiority is not a substitute for identity? Like, okay, so we're just saying that your identity is not, like, it's a substitute for an identity. So you had an identity before, but then when you don't have power, so like the leftists that had power and then they lost it, so like we're operating under the assumption that these leftists had power in the past and then they had a real identity, but then when they lost power, they had to just lose their identity and actually just say, I'm more morally superior to other people. I think I'm getting this.
So it's not about necessarily being a part of a group that wants to change things for the better. It's about power and control. The second is
it's not about wanting to change things for the better. It's about power and control. Not thing. Make things better. Is about our role. Okay, so this like does not follow at all. They don't want to make things better. It's about power and control. What does that mean? That moral superiority is a substitute for identity? You said that they don't have power. When they don't have power, their moral superiority is a substitute for their identity. But now you're saying that like actually their moral superiority is about having power? Like this doesn't make any sense. Okay, so that's number one. What is number two? We're doing one for each of these guys.
fear of exclusion. People mimic outrage because
fear of exclusion. Fear of
belonging, especially online, is precarious. You either join.
People mimic outrage because belonging is precarious. Did it mimic outrage, belonging. Did I hear her right? Is precarious?
The pylon or risk becoming the next target. It's about power and control. The second is the fear of exclusion. People mimic outrage because belonging, especially online, is precarious. You either join the pylon or risk becoming the next target. Once again, it's about control.
People mimic outrage because belonging is precarious. You join the pylon or you risk becoming the next target. So the only people that are outraged are just doing it because they're mimicking it so that they don't become the next target.
The third is cognitive closure. When certainty feels safer than new.
God, oh my God. She's going way too fast. How many of these points does she have? Cognitive closure.
The far left policing subculture offers clear heroes and villains, which relieves moral anxiety.
Far left policing subculture offers clear. Okay, so left offers clear heroes and villains.
Again, about power and control. And I think this quote best exemplifies everything. When activism becomes about moral theater, it stops being about liberation and starts being about reputation. It is not about actually being a good person. It's about people thinking that you're a good person. There's a huge difference. How does this have to do with the rise of far-right ideology? Well, in my opinion, this is what the right is talking about when they mean woke. But unfortunately, they've lumped in...
The right does not mean performative when they say woke. They mean like anti-racist is what they mean.
Groups of people that genuinely care about making the world a better place, genuinely care about being good, and this morality police / authoritarian left. Because most people fall under this middle ground majority that does not need you to have a PhD in human rights to believe that you care about people. They do not expect perfection. They understand that people are flawed and nuanced and they change and they grow and they leave room for that. But it seems like in internet spaces and online spaces, for the longest time, the dominant narrative was that you are either perfect or you are gone forever. And that does not leave room for conversation. And that, in my opinion, is how we get the rise of the far right. Because this is the cycle. The left overly moralizes. The right weaponizes that backlash. Then the left doubles down and then polarization deepens. There's no winning here. It just, what then happens is what is happening.
Like, you say that your issue is with performativity online, either performatively dogpiling someone or being performatively moralistic with someone, right? Like, you're saying that's what your issue is with the online left, but then you're like, the left is being overly moral, which is an indicator that they are actually trying to push for a change. Like, let's let gay people get married. That's a moral change that had tangible results in this country that the left pushed for and conservatives had a backlash to. Nothing about that had anything to do with the left being authoritarian or dogpiling people or being like, oh, well, you're not like a bi-queer, gender neutral furry, so you're not woke enough to be inside of our club, like our gender abolitionist club. So actually, we don't want you to advocate for gay marriage because you're not woke enough for us. Like, the things that you're railing against don't actually exist in the world. It's a few posts that you've seen online that made you write out this manifesto. But when you're describing how the authoritarian left is actually kind of the root cause of conservatives, you're just being like being a leftist causes reactionary stuff, which is, I guess, true if if you're assuming that being a reactionary white supremacist, like patriarchal society, is the null position, and advocating against that is somehow like causing the null position. No, dude. Like, people advocate for human rights, and reactionaries advocate for a return to like a white supremacist patriarchy, essentially. That's what conservative is, like, scapegoating minority groups and being misogynistic. That's what like a conservative culture is. Saying that they're overly moralistic when we're talking about like real politics is just advocating for morally correct issues. So yeah, like the argument kind of falls apart when it's applied to really her own words, but especially real life examples.
Right now, which is people just become more and more extreme, at least online. And I feel like it's starting to trickle into real life, even though I still believe most people are very much so in the middle of like, are you trying to be a good person? Do you try your best every day? You're a human being, I'm a human being. That's fine. But if you're just online, you think that it's either perfection or not. And it's hypocritical because
This is just delusion. The idea that every leftist on Twitter is like, if you're not perfect, then you're actually like a racist Nazi. Like that is just pure delusion on her part. Also, the idea that everyone is trying to do good in the world is absolutely not true. It really could not be further from the truth. Fuck. I missed that shit.
nobody's perfect. Let he who has never sinned cast the first stone. But if you ask the authoritarian left, they are perfect. And then it becomes a performance. It's not about doing good. It's not about being good. It's about virtue signaling and making it seem like you're a good person. And then we're shocked now when, with the rise of far-right ideology and extremism, the people that were so loud and so performative seem to have no backbone. It's because they were always grifters. When you have an ideology where the dominant culture is this morality police that is drowning out the majority still that I believe are just...
Bro. Yeah, because it's the leftists that are the ones that were like willing to risk persecution for speaking out for Palestine, or criticizing Trump when it's like being declared illegal and terroristic to criticize Trump, or speaking out in favor of immigration, or like speaking out in favor of trans people. It's those ones that are the most moralistic, according to you, that are not speaking out now. Like you just said, when they don't have power, they use moral superiority to speak out in favor of these things. The left doesn't have power right now, so by your own logic, shouldn't they be the ones speaking out in favor of these things the most? But you just said that like they're not speaking out about these things, and that proves they're grifters.
We're shocked now when, with the rise of far-right ideology and extremism, the people that were so loud and so performative seem to have no backbone. It's because they were always grifters. When you have an ideology where the dominant culture is this morality police that is drowning out the majority still that I believe are just people, they're just trying their best every day, that try to be good people but maybe don't know feminist theory, okay? So maybe they say the wrong things, and that's human, that happens. But then what happens is, one, you alienate this middle ground, and they then choose, well, I'd rather be part of the group that's not judging me for all of my life choices. And they start to see the left for the hypocrisy that it is, and they lump the entire left as part of this morality authoritarian police, when they are, in my opinion, a very loud minority. A very loud and insecure and domineering minority. And so it reveals then that it's all a farce and it's performative, and then you get hijacked by grifters. I mean, it's happening on both sides, but it's also happening on the left. And I don't think we're talking about it enough, because it feels like the moment you say something that is criticizing the left and criticizing the fact that it's not perfect, the authoritarian, left just eats you up and cancels you out of existence.
Like this argument is dumb, but when you compare it to what's happening right now, where conservatives are actually trying to make it not only, I guess, illegal. They're trying to make it illegal to post memes, to criticize Donald Trump, to speak out in favor of a leftist ideology. When there is a fascist administration that is making it illegal to espouse left-wing ideology online, public square, the argument that leftists are grifting by speaking out in favor of their ideology completely falls on its face. Because you can't grift if you're actually putting yourself out there, if you're actually risking things by speaking out in favor of what you believe in. Because the whole idea of grifting is you do the thing that gives you maximal benefit even if you don't really believe in it. That's the point of grifting. So a leftist speaking out in favor, against Donald Trump and being like, Donald Trump's a fascist, when the Trump administration says, if you call me a fascist, you are inciting violence and you're a terrorist, you're supporting terrorism against me, and that should be punishable by law. How is that performative at that point? Sure, it's performative, but you're actually risking repercussions by speaking out against this authoritarian government. It's an authoritarian government, and what? Because you get criticized by leftists online because you're I don't really like trans people. I don't like the idea of trans people playing in women's sports. And then people online criticize you for that. That's being authoritarian and getting canceled. When we have an actual authoritarian government, dude, someone just got arrested. Someone just got arrested in Tennessee because they posted a meme. They posted a meme, $2 million bond for posting a Facebook meme. This was yesterday, a few hours ago. Look at what this meme is. Larry Bushart, a 61-year-old former police officer, posted the offending meme last month. In response to a Facebook post about an upcoming vigil for Kirk, Bushart shared an image of President Donald Trump with the quote, "We have to get over it," which Trump said in January 2024 after a shooting at Iowa's Perry High School. Text added to the image that this seems relevant today. Bushart did not elaborate, but the context seems clear. Why should I care about this shooting when the sitting president said I should get over this other shooting? The image was one of several Bushart posted, and it was far from the most offensive. Still, it certainly feels crass. As people mourned a brutal public murder, Bushart snidely used the occasion to make a partisan political point. But it's certainly well within the bounds of average social media discourse, and you certainly wouldn't expect it to bring the attention of the local police. Received a visit from Lexington PD regarding my posted memes, Bushart wrote in his September 21st Facebook status. According to Sheriff Nick Weems of nearby Perry County, numerous teachers, parents, and students somehow interpreted Bushart's meme with its citation in fine print about a previous school shooting at Perry High School in Perry, Iowa, as a threat to carry out a similar shooting at nearby Perry County High School. So he posted an image of Donald Trump saying, "We have to get over a school shooting," in response to the Charlie Kirk shooting, basically being like, conservatives don't care when children get shot. I'm not going to care when Charlie Kirk gets shot. And then he gets arrested on the claim that he's trying to incite school shootings because he posted an image of Donald Trump saying, "I don't care about school shootings." Look at this. Bushart was arrested the following morning on a charge of threats of mass violence on school property and activities, a Class E felony punishable by between 1 and 6 years in prison and up to a $3,000 fine. Worse, Bushart's bail is set at an astonishing $2 million. Under a Tennessee law that went into effect July 1st, anyone posting bond must put up at least 10% of the total amount, and bail bondsmen must charge a premium fee of at least 5% of the total bond amount. Even just to get out of jail ahead of trial, state law says Bushart would have to pay a bondsman at least $210,000. Perry County Circuit Court website indicates Bouchard had a motion hearing scheduled for October 9th, but when reached by phone Friday, a court clerk told the reason the hearing was reset for December 4th. 2 months later, bro. They're holding this guy in jail for 2 months for posting a meme and then completely lying about it being interpreted as supporting school shootings, simply to make an example out of him. Look at this. Investigators. Bouchard posted the Trump meme to indicate or make the audience think it was referencing our Perry High School, Weems told the Tennessean in a statement. Investigators believe Bouchard was fully aware of the fear his post caused and intentionally sought to create hysteria within the community. Weems also told the local radio station WOPC the meme alluded to a hypothetical shooting at a place called Perry High School. I thought he already was shot. Perry High School shooting. Tennessee, right? Was it in Tennessee or Iowa? This was last year. We have to get over it.
Sympathies to the victims and families touched by the terrible school shooting yesterday in Perry, Iowa. To the entire community, we love you, we pray for you, and we ask God to heal and comfort really the whole state and the pain that you have. This is something that's very unique to your state. We're really with you as much as anybody can be. It's a very terrible thing that happened, and it's just horrible to see that happening. That's just horrible. So surprising to see it here, but have to get over it. We have to move forward. But to the relatives and to all of the people that are so devastated right now, to a point they can't breathe, they can't live, we are with you all the way. We're with you, and we love you and cherish you. We have some big things going in there. I just saw the Supreme Court just before I came. I got some beauties today. I had the one, and then I had the other.
Look at this sweaty pig, dude. Okay, so he posts a picture of Trump saying, we have to get over it, about a school shooting that happened, clearly referencing the school shooting, and then they're like, oh, we were scared for our life because he's encouraging shootings to happen. This justification is downright laughable in its entirety. Like I'm getting attacked. In its entirety, the post consists of a direct quote of a statement by the then former president about a newsworthy event, with text providing context. Plus, a forward phrase added. Bouchard didn't even create the meme. The Tennessean's Angeli Latham noted it had been posted numerous times across multiple social media platforms not connected to Bouchard going back to 2024. Won't the President of the United States go to jail? Adam Steinbaugh, an attorney with the Foundation of Individual Rights and Expression, posted on X. In context, it's clear Bouchard meant to suggest that since Trump previously said people should get over a school shooting, then they shouldn't be expected to care about the murder of a conservative public figure. It's quite a stretch to suggest that they constituted the threat to shoot up a high school. Yes, a nearby high school happened to have a similar name, but that was clearly a coincidence, and there is nothing to suggest Bouchard intended to carry out violence against the local school. On social media, some have suggested the meme in question was part of a larger pattern indicating Bouchard posed a threat, but in his statement to the Tennessean, Weems, this is the sheriff, specifically singled out the Trump meme as the offender, saying while the other posts were hate memes, they were not against the law and would not be recognized, and would be recognized as free speech. So clearly, this is a sheriff who is targeting this guy because he made, because of his speech about Charlie Kirk, and he's making up charges to throw this guy in jail. And of course, these charges aren't going to last. But the fact is that this guy is now going to spend 2 months of his life in jail, waiting to be proven innocent on a ridiculous charge of a meme that exists in the internet that he reshared with clear context, and which was targeted by a conservative. Like, this is an example of a conservative on the local level with a local power making an example out of someone because they dared to speak up against the President of the United States. That is a performative action that has real life consequences. we can't be saying, while we're in the midst of a fucking authoritarian government takeover, that speaking online is performative and grifting, when it is the act of speaking online which causes people to be put in prison and the shit beaten out of them by ICE agents, or like fired from their job because conservatives will try to dox them, which is what happened to people that posted about Charlie Kirk. Like, this is such a tone deaf, like, it's so incorrect and illogical, but also extremely tone deaf.
We're lacking nuance in a world that is life is nuance. Life is the gray area between black and white, but we keep acting like life is either black and white, and online spaces makes you feel that way. It's crazy. We need to talk about the authoritarian left in order to talk about far-right ideology and extremism. And if we don't talk about the authoritarian left, we're missing the big picture.
Really, and the authoritarian left is getting criticized online when you're like, I don't like trans people.
I made a video yesterday.
That's the authoritarian left.
Talking about a phenomenon that I'm dubbing as the authoritarian left. And based off of the comments, which most were understanding what I was trying to say, but some I think I need to give some definitions, because unless every single one is a poli-sci major, I think we're getting confused. First, when I use the terminology authoritarian left,
this is so condescending, right? Oh, well, I guess you're not a poli-sci major, so you must be getting confused. God damn, that rat just dodged my attack. Die.
I'm not talking about the government, obviously. I'm talking about a culture of authoritarianism that has infiltrated the left. Because yes, traditional authoritarianism refers to state power and control, censorship, imprisonment, violence, etc. But social authoritarianism, which is a recognized concept in sociology, refers to coercive control through social, moral, or reputational pressure, even without the state. Another thing that I want to clarify is the difference between being a liberal and being a leftist, and whether you can be both a liberal and a leftist. Liberal leftist exists. Think AOC, think Bernie Sanders. But let's go back to definitions. What do liberals believe in? Liberals believe in individual freedoms, open discourse, civil rights, democracy, pluralism, and freedom of thought. They also believe in free market and capitalism, managed capitalism. So generally they are center to center left. Leftists are a spectrum. They believe in economic justice, anti-imperialism, power redistribution, solidarity with marginalized groups. You can be both. I believe that I'm a liberal leftist, and the way that it would translate in the US political context, for example, is that I would be kind of a democratic socialist. I know that in the United States, when people hear socialism, they think, oh my God, like communism, socialism. But democratic socialists on the political spectrum are still center left. And speaking of the political spectrum, it is a spectrum. And what I was trying to kind of explain in the previous video is when you come to online spaces, there's a sense that people are either starkly on the right or starkly on the left, when in reality, people are on the spectrum, and many people fall in the middle of that spectrum. And when you have these two very distinct sides, there's a sense that you have to pick one or the other. And what, in my opinion, authoritarian leftists end up doing, because in my opinion, I don't think that authoritarian leftists are actually leftists. I don't think they genuinely believe in the values of the left. I think that they are authoritarian and they're wearing a mask of leftism. And they, in my opinion, are harmful to actual leftists and liberal leftists like myself, who believe in empowering people, who believe in actual justice, who believe in building community.
I'm a leftist, but I also believe in capitalism and that it's going to solve all of our issues. Really interesting. Care to explain that to the class? Okay, so she's just like, I don't like it when someone assumes that my positions are the same as everyone else online. This is just like nuance trolling, right? Oh, why isn't anyone nuanced about things anymore? I hear. This looks like a scary... Whoa, the camera's shaking. Oh my god. What the fuck is that? What the fuck? Oh Jesus. What is this, a salamander? An axolotl? Or there's a dragon or something? Oh my god, that was a big hit. This is the authoritarian left. This is it right here. We're seeing the embodiment of it. The avatar. Okay. I hope that I can respawn there.
Who believe in dialogue. I say this as someone that studied politics since I was 17 years old. And for me, what I understood about liberalism, the democratic process, a key component of the democratic process is discourse. Discourse. Talking about it. Talking.
Dude, this is so stupid. Yeah, we talk about it. Liberal final boss. I mean, we just saw the final boss of the authoritarian left right there. It killed me. So I'm kind of seeing her side, man. Oh my god, okay, that was scary. Even though it's just a bat. Oof. I'm not ready for Halloween. These bats are just popping out of nowhere. Look at that shit. This is creepy as hell. There too. We need to discourse. We need to dialogue with each other. Because otherwise, how the hell are we ever gonna have a democracy if we can't dialogue with each other? Why isn't no one nuanced anymore? Dude, just tell me what you don't. Tell me that you don't know what you're talking about without. No one is nuanced these days. Everyone just wants to be extreme and radical. Okay. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. Fuck.
To each other and getting to general consensus. That is the democratic process. But authoritarian leftists are about control, about seeking moral dominance, about policing community, about punishing dissent.
Like, it just sounds like she had some negative criticism in her comments. And she just went off. She went off. Oh, I'm gonna fucking die. God damn it, I just lost 3,000 runes. Holy shit, this game's pissing me off. This game is the authoritarian left. Like, it is dominating me. It has no room for nuance. And it's completely ademocratic. And it's causing me, like the authoritarian left, this game is also creating reactionaries. It's making me be a reactionary.
And performing virtue. They do so much harm to actual leftists.
She's the one remaining TYT viewer. Okay, that was pretty good.
And liberal leftists, in my opinion, that it then gives people on the right and the far right, which, by the way, the rise of the far right is not just because of these authoritarian leftists, but if we don't talk about authoritarian leftism as a contributing factor in continuing to fuel the fire of the far right and giving them justification, really, to then hate all leftists, all liberals, all liberal leftists, then we're missing the bigger picture. And I say this as someone whose first love was politics. I studied politics for so long because I fell in love with politics, because it became very clear to me from my teens that everything is political. The fact that we live in societies means that we experience politics all the time.
Guys, did you know that we live in a society? Oh, but what are we doing here? Everything's political. We live in a society, and we're just not having conversations. Also, like, how am I supposed to beat this thing? What? It dodged my shit. Holy God, this bird is tough. Just spam. All right, good. Okay, runes.
But if we don't talk about authoritarian leftism as a contributing factor in continuing to fuel the fire of the far right and giving them justification, really, to then hate.
Dude, oh no. Oh my God, you think the far right needs justification? No, like this is so painful. The far right doesn't need a justification to hate on people. This, dude, you study politics? What are you reading, man? What political books are you reading? Like the Politics of Arthur? What are we like Caillou's politics about whose turn it is to suck on the binky? The far right needs an excuse to hate people, and the left is giving it. No. You do realize that we live in a world where people have the capacity to lie. They can lie about things. People lie to things. Like politicians lie to people. Okay? Like people have the ability to say things, to make assertions that aren't true. Conservatives and like Democrats too, to an extent, but conservatives do that a lot. They're really good at doing that.
All leftists, all liberals, all liberal leftists, then we're missing the bigger picture. And I say this as someone whose first love was politics. I studied politics for so long because I fell in love with politics, because it became very clear to me from my teens that everything is political. The fact that we live in societies means that we experience politics all the time. Work is political. Friendship dynamics is political. Your family's dynamic is political. Whenever people come together, that is politics. And when people cannot come together and talk to each other, then it's clear to me that something has gone deeply, deeply wrong. And we keep talking about it as if it's just the right. It's just the right that has lost the plot. But I feel like there is this authoritarian...
Dude, just like... Sure, if you want to say family dynamics are politics too, that's cool. But pretending like talking to your family is the same thing as like talking to each other on a nation-wide scale is kind of delusional. Like you don't treat work politics the same as you do your local city council that you show up at. Like what are we talking about here? You're not like, oh yeah, Rachel from HR was talking shit. Like you're not gonna like bring up to the local city council meeting that one of your friends said that one of the council members was looking a little chubby and you thought that was disrespectful. Like, these are not the same things, man. You can't just flatten it. Like local politics aren't the same as national politics. But it's definitely not the same as your family reunions, the politics of your family reunions. It's just like it's really disingenuous to try to make that assertion or that comparison. Holy shit, I'm dying so bad.
That has also lost the plot, that makes the right feel like they're just...
Don't put on some better talismans. I don't know. Dude, I've beaten these guys before. I'm distracted. That's my excuse. I'm distracted, right? Okay, I'm actually really good at this game. I'm actually a really good gamer. It's just that I'm trying to deal with the authoritarian left while also having to deal with a rotting corpse dog and like a bloated troll.
Justified, and we cannot see the full picture without also talking about this authoritarian left, because the whole point of politics, the political process, the democratic process. Otherwise, you want to go back to living in monarchies, is that we get to talk. The people have discourse and they talk about it and they get to a general consensus. We're not all ever going to agree, okay, because most of us fall on the spectrum, but at least we can talk about it. And I feel like we've lost that. We've come so far from
But what do you mean the authoritarian left is gonna like cancel you or whatever? Like, I thought that's what you were against, them talking to you about your politics. Because you're trying to say that you know, they're going too far and they're canceling you for your political takes, but now you're saying that you want them to talk with you about politics? Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't say we need to have open discourse, but also cry when people try to criticize you or like quote unquote cancel you on the left. Like how are they canceling you? How are they being authoritarian? Let's go. Who else can I kill? Get 'em, boys. All right, continue.
Coffee houses in Vienna. And as someone who, like I said, politics is my first love, it genuinely breaks my heart. I made a video yesterday talking about a phenomenon that I'm dubbing as the authoritarian left.
Oh, no,
and based
it
off of the
restarted.
comments, which most were understanding what I was trying to say, but some I think I need to give some definitions, because unless every single one is a poli-sci major, I think we're getting confused.
The condescension.
First, when
man.
I use the terminology authoritarian left, I'm not talking about the government, obviously. I'm talking about a culture of authoritarianism that has infiltrated the left. Because yes, traditional authoritarianism refers to state power and control, censorship, imprisonment.
Right. Okay, I'm sure she's a very nice person, but just really bad takes there. Asmongold. Oh yeah, I did want to look at Asmongold's YouTube channel. What else does this guy have to say? Is Asmongold truly the stupidest person in politics? Asmongold YouTube. You are losing runes, not leveling health. It's painful. What? I'm losing runes, not leveling health. What does that even mean? What am I calling? Oh, okay. This was an hour ago. We kind of need to watch this.
All right.
Oh, wait, no. This is an hour long. We're not watching that. Someone's uncle crashed out at me. Trump's biggest announcement yet. He might be sued. The working class is in danger. I'm kind of curious to see that. Working class is in danger. That's 48 minutes long. Not getting away with it. Give me a shorter video. Starbucks is cooked. Son is forced to address this. This is very worrisome. Oh, yes. This is very
Candace Owens just shared a screenshot of a group chat where Charlie
her audio was so loud.
Kirk explicitly said that he was leaving the pro-Israel cause just 48 hours before he was assassinated.
So Charlie writes in this group chat, just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year, because we won't cancel Tucker.
$2 million.
I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Somebody writes,
Ooh.
Charlie writes, Jewish donors play into all of the stereotypes. I can.
They play into all the stereotypes. Jesus, man. Literally no dates, and I could contact and say Charlie Kirk. I understand that people are saying that this is fake. I understand that they are, but the Turning Point USA has come out.
Like, where is Ethan Klein when it comes to this? Is he covering Asmongold for being an anti-Semitic piece of shit? Like, we know he cares so much about fighting against anti-Semitism. Where is this shit? Intro with Martin, food segments. Oh, the Hassan situation. Oh, yeah, because that's very important. Schnitzel tasting time. What's warm ice cream? Ollie got baptized. Warm ice cream. RFK, we got the Hassan dog collar. Okay, where's his other channel, other video? H3 podcast. It's on hiker situation. Where is him covering like Candace Owens and saying that she's anti-Semitic for all of this Charlie Kirk shit? Oh, he doesn't cover it. He only covers Hassan. Interesting. Okay. He's not going to cover Asmongold being like, oh yeah, well, I love hearing that the Jewish donors are completely stereotypical Jews.
And confirm that these are authentic and real.
Not and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave.
Because that's
pro-Israel.
the first thing I believed. That's the first, because obviously, right? Whenever you hear something like Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes, my I'm like, okay, all right, is this really what's going on here? Or are they just basically like trying to, get people into that? Show the confirmation? Well, I'm going to show this one first, but yeah.
Cause.
I didn't take it that
and
seriously.
Somebody writes, Sedona writes, please do not invite Candace. That might feel good short term, but it's not good long term. In my opinion, like all groups, you're going to get a wide variety of opinions. That nasty free will thing that God bestowed on us makes life frustrating at times after the dust settles a bit, maybe. So again, this is 48 hours before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. He was very clear and he was very explicit, and he did not back down, not in that Hamptons meeting, which they're all lying about, nor in this text thread. I'm not going to reveal the names of the other 7.
Get 'em, boys.
Actually, you know what? I disagree with myself 4 seconds ago. Let's just throw in Josh Hammer for funsies. He's on this chat, okay?
Ooh. So then there we go. So she's released this because everybody's been calling her crazy, talking about how, blaming all this stuff on Israel. And it's going to be quite the week. Yeah, you can see all this. And let's go back over here. Does that imply Tucker is next? I mean, so anyway, this is her talking about it as well. And I am the same kind of person as well, that I think to myself,
and others knew that Charlie was done with Israel bullying him, and I am now going to present you proof.
Yeah, here we go.
I'm saying.
This is the introduction.
And others knew that Charlie was done with Israel bullying him, and I am now going to present you proof of what I am saying. This is an actual group chat, which happened 2 days before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. There were 9
yeah, this
people
is like
on this
all.
chat.
Oh God, there's all of them.
And Rob McCoy. I'm going to protect the names of the other 7 for now. To be clear, I might actually release a name every day this week, but I want to show you this because
I mean, yeah, like they're saying, oh, are they going to do Tucker Carlson next? The idea is that they're saying the Jews killed Charlie Kirk, and the Jews did it because he was going to like break with Israel. First of all, what did he say? He's like, I have no choice. All right, let's go screen. Like, what were the texts here?
Groups, you're going to get a wide variety of opinions.
Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied by it like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. I love the blatant admittance here that Charlie Kirk is a pure grifter, right? Right? Like, oh, Jewish donors are not going to donate to me anymore. Thus, I am not going to be pro-Israel. And we're supposed to believe that Charlie Kirk was some kind of like bastion of free speech and independent thought. These text messages just say what everyone already knew. They just confirm it, that he's getting paid to speak about politics. Like, he's getting paid to hawk certain positions. He's pro-Israel because he's getting paid $2 million a year. At least $2 million a year. He's like, another huge Jewish donor just left me. So he got $2 million a year from a single Jewish donor, and he implied that there were multiple ones that he was having. So he's being paid like $5 million a year to be pro-Israel. Wow, dude. Wow. You're really souring the image of your departed friend, Candace.
That nasty free will thing that God bestowed on us makes life frustrating at times after the dust settles a bit, maybe. So again, this is 48 hours before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. He was very clear in the chat, including Charlie and Rob McCoy. I'm going to protect the names of the other 7 for now. To be clear, I might
Until the
actually
end of
release
the
a name
video.
every day this week, but I want to show you this because suffice it to say, Rob McCoy was on this text thread, and I think it helps contextualize him as a person, in my view, that he would attack me for telling the truth about the pressure that he was facing. Take a look.
So there we go. And anyway, this isn't even news. Tucker talked about it. No, it's not news that it happened. It's news that he was actively opposing them, right? And so here's the big one right here, is that Turning Point USA, because if you're like me, you saw this and you were like, oh, it's probably bullshit fake screenshots, right? That's the first thing that I would think.
Who is this guy? Andrew Calvert? He's running the Charlie Kirk show now? Okay, let's hit a little bit more of this.
Well,
but I want to take
this is Turning Point USA themselves. This is Charlie Kirk's show confirming the authenticity of these clips.
Part of this show
for messages
to address some of the. But I want to take the start of this show to address some of the things that have been going around on public, namely about a group text chain that has been made known and released by Candace Owens. And I just want to address it head on because, that was a screen grab that I had shared with people. So it is authentic. And I want to go into it because I actually am really excited.
So there it is. His own organization is confirming that this is real.
That the truth is out there. I first want to say the reason I didn't share that screen grab publicly is because it was a private exchange, and I felt like it didn't necessarily comport with things that were already public. I wanted to not betray my friends' trust in that way.
Sure.
But I did share it with some people in government because it happened really quick. It was, it took 33 hours for authorities to get their suspect. And in those first moments, we wanted no stone unturned. We wanted to leave nothing unturned. So I shared it with a few people. Don't know where it went from there, apparently. But here we are. So
you can't take a few messages and start making conclusions. I'm not making a conclusion. I'm saying that this is a. Can we just be honest that whenever this definitely strengthens Candace Owens' argument, at least.
I mean, I know this guy's just like a generic conservative looking guy, but he's infinitely better looking than Charlie Kirk. The show might be in good hands. Yeah. You have a generic brand Kirk. That's what you have from this guy, Brett Calvert. So yeah, it's just like all of this is anti-Semitic conspiracy theories from conservatives, and it's not been covered at all by the Kleins. In fact, it's actually been supported. Remember, Hila Klein reposted a literal Nazi comic artist.
A little bit, right? Like it does. And so it doesn't mean that Israel assassinated Charlie Kirk. Of course it doesn't mean that. But it is very interesting. It's a
one
huge
of the reasons,
reach. Yeah.
Blake, that I'm glad to have this now public. It was not mine to share publicly, but one of the criticisms we've received is that we don't care. We're not investigating every lead. We're not looking under every stone, and that somehow we're just like, sweeping things under the rug. And when I say that we want justice for Charlie more than anybody else, I really mean it, and no stone unturned. I mean, I don't know if you want to chime in on that part alone, but I have more to say.
Yeah, so it has been so frustrating to have people blow up about this.
Yeah.
And I've certainly stated publicly, the reason I haven't weighed in on things is I am an eyewitness to events, and they've said, don't comment on things because anything you say
like court
will mess
case.
that up.
Sure.
I don't want to mess up
That makes sense.
any trial for the person who did this.
That's 1,000.
So such a stupid thing to share. We know everything about the shooter. Her argument has improved from 0.05 to 0.1%, and anyone else who thinks otherwise is retarded. So I'm okay. So would I gamble money or bet on Israel being the one that killed Charlie Kirk because he became more aggressive or anti-Israel, following right before the assassination? Would I bet on that? Would I actually bet money on that? I would not bet money on that. I would not. But I do think that this gives the people that believe it a lot of fucking ammunition, right? This definitely, for the people that believe this is a smoking gun for them. That's the point that I'm making about this more than anything else. You don't know how Mossad operate? Oh, of course, and you do. Yes, definitely. The fact is that none of us know how they operate. They're a secretive Israeli fucking intelligence agency, and nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody has any idea about this. He's a Mossad agent? Oh, really? Well, I thought I was. Yeah, what happened? It just creates more anti-Semitism, Asmon. I think it does too. And well, that's not entirely true. Like, I mean, again, like you're talking about, like, again, I guess, no, he's talking about Jewish donor, not Israel donor. So yeah, I guess you could say anti-Semitism in this case. You're right. And anyway, so yeah, I guess yeah, leaving me no choice. And you can see it right here. Leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. Wow. That's a whole lot, man. It really is. And I don't think it's
like I love this text exchange that Charlie Kirk left, because there's two takeaways. Either Charlie is a pure grifter and admitting to it, and then his quote unquote friends are releasing the fact that he's just like getting paid for his position on Israel. And then he's like, I'm not going to be pro-Israel anymore because I'm not being paid to be pro-Israel anymore. Or Charlie was actually in favor of Israel, but he's just so anti-Semitic that a Jewish owner was a dick to him like one time, and then he's like, this guy, it plays into the Jewish stereotypes. In good faith, I cannot support Israel anymore just because the Jews are all so bad. Like, he's either a grifter or extremely anti-Semitic, and in reality he's both of these things. But like Asmongold is like, is this anti-Semitic? Yes, yeah. Well, actually, well, he's a Jewish donor, so yeah, that's probably anti-Semitic.
real. It helped the shooter organize the shooting, but it's highly plausible that they knew about the Discord group and said nothing. Five Eyes spy network? Maybe. I don't know, man. And Israel killing Kirk would destroy relations with the USA and Israel? I mean, I don't know. There's people that said that they killed JFK, and I don't know. I mean, like, people think that Israel did 9/11. They think that there's so much stuff that people blame on Israel. It's very hard to say, and I don't think that we're ever really going to get like a confirmation of it, right? It's not like anybody's going to know, okay, well, for sure this is actually what happened. I don't think it's ever going to know. In 2 days, Israel found a crazy 22-year-old man from Utah, trained, brainwashed, and sent him to take out Kurt. The hate for Jewish people and Israel is already exaggerated beyond reason. So, honestly, man, I think that I think you're right. This sounds ridiculous. So the logic follows. In 2 days, Israel found a 22-year-old crazy man from Utah, trained, brainwashed, and sent him to take out Kirk. The hate for Jewish people in Israel is already exaggerated beyond reason. I generally agree with that. 28 timeouts. What else does he say usually? Oh, it's because he says he says Jews. My chat has got a lot of opinions, right? And so sometimes some words are just better left unsaid, right? And yeah, fair enough, exactly. There's not a problem with Mossad. What are your thoughts on Bibi saying that Iran will nuke the U.S.? He said they had I don't think that's necessarily what he said. He implied that. He didn't say it directly. I know what you're talking about.
Okay, like, yeah, dude. Like, just openly endorsing anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, being like, oh, this guy's been timed out for anti-Semitism in the past. Just like, don't say the word the Jews and we'll be good. Like, oh, I'm super glad we checked in on what Asmongold is up to. Okay. Guys, I'm going to do it to myself. I am going to do it to myself. I'm going to play a little bit of this. It's been so long since we checked in on this shit, and I'm kind of curious about it.
He didn't even start drinking.
It's not gonna be good, but we're gonna play it. I'm gonna play some Elden Ring, and then we're gonna call this stream. Okay, guys? So 20 minutes tops. I'm not gonna subject myself or you to this any longer, but I think this is gonna be a good way to end the stream, just like on the most irrelevant man on the internet.
Everyone's just sharing.
I was going to say he is
oversharing, Nate. Oversharing. So also, on top of that, on top of getting drunk, we've also decided to combine responsible activities. I got the exact exact model that Hassan has allegedly been using on his dog, his sweet, innocent, beautiful Kaya.
I just saw it and I was like, oh God.
Okay? And we are going to go through this and prove to you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that this is the one he's using. And further, I will be strapping this to my neck.
Oh God.
And
this
feeling
is
what
good.
that poor
You don't
dog
have
would
to do
do.
it on your neck.
I don't know
No,
if
you don't.
Denims would be able to keep herself contained if she saw
Tamara
that.
said yes, he does.
Say what?
Okay, never mind. Apparently, you do need to do it. So.
Well, I don't think it'd be. So I know Tamara tried it on her arm, but I don't think that's the same thing.
Same thing. Well, no, it would definitely hurt more on your neck.
But that's how I'm trying to sympathize with the animal.
Are you guys comfortable with that?
I'm not. I do not. No, I'm not comfortable with
the
that.
dog has like big, thick fur. You would just be on like.
Well, I'll start very low.
Come on, zap yourself on the neck. Wait, he'll actually do this, right? This will be cool. His wife will zap him. Please. Where's the collar? Where's the collar? Are they putting it on? No, he's not. He doesn't have the collar on. Okay, it's at the end of the show. Here we go. And he's about to get zapped. Dude, you just know that Heel is gonna use this on him in the bedroom. This is gonna be like their new thing, right? Heel. She's actually gonna fucking train him.
All right.
Rapeseed. Hey, so what it says, bro.
Who's
Why'd they
this
name
guy?
it that?
Well, let's rename it.
But why
right
did they
here
name
today.
it that to
Rap
begin
seed.
with, guys?
I always say
you,
rap
loser,
seed.
bitch.
Fuck you,
Oh.
bitch
Fuck
ass.
you.
I bet you eat seed oil for breakfast, loser, dumbass.
You want to save this for Monday?
I guess, yeah, we could do it on Monday. I can try to
it for
get shocked
Monday.
real quick. I
Come
wanted
on,
to.
Ethan. Just shock yourself. you
Well,
little
do we have
bitch.
time, Miller, or you want to bail?
Oh, do we have time?
Say
Do
ta-ta
we have
for
time
now.
to shock
I
myself?
feel like this is gonna be like a whole
Do you guys-
40 minutes of its
you
own
guys-
thing.
You guys know about TTFN?
Is it tough for now?
Ta-ta for now. My dad and sister started saying that one day in our family chat. They started saying TTFN like I know what the fuck that means. Ta-ta for now? Are we being serious right
Did
now?
they make that up?
No, apparently. I don't know where the fuck they got it.
I've never seen anybody use that.
Ta-ta for now.
Just out of nowhere, they dropped that.
Yes.
That's fucking wild.
Let's ask chat. Chat, do y'all know?
Ethan should do
Ta-ta
it
for now?
today because trust me, it will be more pleasurable today for him with the little Paulaner beer than on Monday.
Galia's disagreeing with you. She's
Dude,
saying,
holy shit,
Monday we
shock
can do all
yourself.
his songs.
They've just been talking about it for so long. Shock yourself. Come on.
Actually, I could. I have time now.
Yeah.
Give us a money shot.
But
You're fine.
I can tell you though, without a shadow of a doubt, that he's using the shock collar. It's just what he's doing. There's no fucking
just
question
what-
about
oh,
it.
what was that?
Now, do you wanna shock me, mommy? Mommy.
I
I say a
think
shock.
I
That's a
should
good
put it onto
teaser. A
you.
shock, right?
Wait, so you are doing it?
I'll do a quickie.
A little tease.
A little tease.
Little
Afternoon
tease for
delight.
Monday.
You ever heard of that?
It literally does nothing.
Fire rockets in flight.
Like he's probably not even gonna feel it.
Afternoon
He's gonna have it be at such a
delight.
low level.
Afternoon delight.
Gonna find my baby, gonna hold her tight.
I have such a petite fuckable neck.
What?
Dan.
It doesn't look like it's gonna hold. Like you're on the tightest one and it's not touching you.
should probably do it on the right side.
It's
of it, though,
take-
not
I
like
mean, it's-
right in the middle.
You can hold it to your. You have opposable thumbs.
Like,
Don't do it there.
on the side, Jesus.
No, it doesn't. Put it on the side. Don't put it on your
Go on the
fucking-
windpipe.
Like Ethan can just hold it up to his neck. Like he has that ability. This is like when he wanted to watch iDubbbz' video and he's like, I'm gonna do it because I'm such a badass. And then it was like 4 hours later and he's watched 5 minutes of it. Like, dude, you said you were gonna shock yourself 2 hours ago. Do it already. It's not that big of a deal. It really is not that big of a deal.
Brachia, dude.
Yeah.
Same.
I
Like
want to
this?
call 911 on you in a second.
Well, this is what Hassan did to his poor, lovely, fucking precious
What is
dog
insane
Maya.
and crazy? That thing is forbidden in Germany, by the way.
Yeah,
You
that's what we
cannot,
are.
you cannot buy this in
Yeah.
Germany.
It's
except
illegal.
again, you're in a nightclub. But then you cannot buy this for dogs. That's not okay.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely wrong. But still, I think we will have a lot of pleasure when actually Hitler would put it onto you.
Martin is really.
You're getting off to this,
Yeah,
aren't you, Martin?
I know. We've heard
Like, we're
enough.
Germans. Come on, we know. What's, what we like
Martin
and what we
is
don't like.
Put your
degenerate.
Fondstucker away, dude.
Martin, have you seen the clip we're talking about?
Yes.
You've seen the Hassan?
Very,
thing?
very concerned about that clip. Let's say it like that.
Yeah.
Let's say more.
Very concerned because I'm not a dog daddy, but I'm a cat daddy. Look, I like pussies, you know.
Yeah,
so
same,
therefore,
same.
Did they actually just?
So.
Did they actually just find a fucking German, like, sex pest? Like, talk about fulfilling stereotypes. The guy's like every German pornographer that's ever been portrayed in movies. Where the fuck did they find this guy?
Cats, and Garfield, my male cat, is the most coolest guy ever because he showed up 2 months later when I bought the house in Van Nuys, and he poops and do all his private business at the neighbor yard, and he comes back to me and
What a
enjoys
guy.
himself.
That's good
What a
training.
guy.
Great guy.
That's good training.
Awesome. I love it.
Ethan, you're lav, so you can stand up if you want.
Oh, good.
All right, save it for Monday.
What? Oh my god. This
Oh my God.
is sloppy right now.
Oh God. All right, so I gotta be actually careful because I've got a fucking neck stalker on.
Why don't you make Ela in charge of the controller?
I don't like this. You want to
Okay,
do
how
it
about
then?
Somebody else.
All right,
be
listen.
in charge?
Because I didn't read the instructions.
It's
I don't know
literally
what
at
I'm doing.
1 out of 100.
Okay, the collar's probably not on. There's a whole here.
It's on. It is on, Dan.
The
No,
collar.
but the
is-
collar isn't
Collar
on.
itself. Chef, you want to do it?
Here.
Chef, you what?
Easy view from.
Let Chef Bernard
There's
take
no
care
button.
of it. Yeah.
There's-
If this
Always
hurts,
a good
just
idea.
scream.
You're good.
I mean but it's blinking green, so it should be okay.
I think we're good to go. It's at a 1, bruh.
Okay.
Do we
So
need
let me
to
show you
read
guys-
instructions? I thought we were going to do it on Monday.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
I died.
So here. Oh, there's no camera there.
He's a water sommelier.
So hold on. Let me come
Oh
up to
yeah,
the.
TikTok. That
You
makes
can do
sense.
it in the Schnitzel camera.
I want to show it to the camera,
One size
Dan.
fits most. One dog system.
Just keep in mind, guys. Ethan Klein, the guy who says Hassan is brutally abusing his dog on a daily basis. However, we're gonna do an entire episode exposing Hassan on Monday. The dog abuse, that can wait. Don't just do the shock collar now, save it for content. This is Ethan Klein.
Here's the remote.
100%
Okay.
satisfaction
Dude,
guarantee.
level 1, he's literally not
Can
gonna
they
feel
read
a
it?
single thing.
Well,
Oh shit, I'm gonna fucking die.
so it's at 1. It goes all the way up to 100. But what's interesting?
Oh, I'm gonna die. Oh, I'm
Just
gonna
make sure
die.
one is not this.
It has the
Drink your
regular
juice.
button and the super shock button. Now, what I think happened with Hassan is that he probably either accidentally hit the super shock button or the voltage was way higher than Kaya's used to, and that's why she yelped in pain. So I do think it
that
was an
makes
accident,
sense.
probably to shock her at that high of voltage.
There is also a vibration button on the other side.
This
Just to
one?
add,
No, the other one. On the other side.
so he
This
could have
one?
also hit.
Maybe you pointed at it. The one that's on.
This one?
Yeah, that's it.
I'm gonna hit this one.
Yeah.
Please, God. Ah, it's vibrating. Hot. Ooh. I'm going back to my seat. All right, so I'm getting the vibrating. You see that, Ela? So again, I'm at 1. I'm at 1.
Okay.
We're gonna push the button. I don't feel it.
Yeah,
Vibration.
because you're not going to feel it.
No, I'm doing the shock now. Okay, I'm
The
going up to
dog
10.
hadn't his beer yet, huh?
I'm going up to 10. Oh! It's like pins and needles. It feels like you're being stabbed by a bobby pin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not what pins and needles feels like.
Ooh, but it also feels kind of exciting. Ooh. Hello.
Berlin
nightlife. Ooh.
Trust
Hello.
me, they sound slightly different over there.
All right, I'm going up to 15. Shock me, daddy.
Hit the supercharge, bro.
Ooh. All right, let's go up to 20.
Yeah, let's just make sure you can sit down with increasing.
All right, here we go. 20. Oh. Yeah. 20 feels pretty. I still think that. Okay.
Just go to
I'm
100.
just pushing it for a second, dude. I couldn't hold it down. That'd be way too. I would
Hira
really
is
wanna
like
go
secretly back ordering this on Amazon for 3 times right now.
You want to try it? It doesn't really hurt that much at 20. I wouldn't really want to go over 20.
Why? Go over 20. Dude, it's so fucking funny. It's so performative what he's doing, right? He's like, oh, well, Kaya yelped, so I need to go up to a level where I'd yelp too. I'd reasonably yelp too. What?
Right,
why is he the one shocking
I don't
himself?
think-
It should be someone else that does it.
I don't think anybody cares
You
to
look
try.
I mean, been there, done that with my beautiful wife Nancy.
You guys have one of these too, huh? She puts the educator on you.
I like it.
Chef Bernard.
Why don't they shock the German guy then? And he's making sexual comments about Gila the entire time. Have Gila shock him. Let's get it going, man. Have them enjoy each other's bodies. Okay, that was really stupid. I mean, only Ethan could take a content section of using a shock collar on himself and make it boring. Only Ethan Klein could do that. Okay, let's play a little bit more of this.
He looks over to the side. He reaches for something, right? And right as he seems to be making some kind of...
Well, yeah, Ethan killed his own dog. He also famously does not care about Palestinians at all. And, like, the only reason he's covering this at all isn't because of the amount of horror, shock and horror, but it's because he thinks he can use it as an opportunity to get rid of Hassan. All right. My skeletons. Oh, no. I'm in the wrong. I summon you.
Pushing motion. That's animal abuse. Tom came and he moved Ducky, who was sitting comfortably.
These guys actually suck. They deal no damage.
I left my dog shock collars at home today. I thought it would be inappropriate.
Too soon? I'm sorry.
No, you're right on time. So there's Tom. Is there any other way to explain this body motion? At the exact time the dog yelps.
America, Kaya, please just fucking go. Just stop.
Oh, are they saying like? I haven't read like anything.
So his initial explanation is that she scratched herself on the bed or something, or her nail got caught.
At the same exact time he like.
The same exact time he reached for and into what can be described as a pushing motion.
All of the end.
Like that
Kaya,
body
please
language is
just
someone
fucking-
he's pushing something.
And go. Just stop.
Right? So he initially tries to lie and say, "Oh, she must have got caught on the bed or something." Total bullshit. Just a total fucking obvious lie, right?
I agree.
And the other thing that really strikes me is, like, why is he? I've always wondered why Kaya is refined to this tiny space for so long now.
Refined? Unfined? Okay. Hold. Yeah, why she's confined to the space, not refined space.
I've met this dog, and I have a young dog.
So do I.
Young, large, energetic dog.
Oh, yeah.
And they have a fuckload of energy, these young dogs. They should be running around, having fun. Like, obviously, there's a time and place for obedience and sitting quietly, but...
How long? Because
This
I
is-
wasn't clear. How long are his streams? I don't watch like normally.
9 hours.
And it's legit. The dog sits there the whole time.
The vast majority of the time, yeah.
Because to me, I watched this a couple times. To me, the dog is just being a dog.
Oh yeah.
Like my dog would have never sat still that long.
No.
Mine's a 1-year-old, golden doodle, and they got a shitload of energy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So the dog is just like getting up and
Okay, guys, I think we're gonna call it there. This is just it's so boring. Oh my god, a dog's laying in a bed for multiple hours a day when its owner is working. Oh wow, that's crazy. Thank you for your contribution to humanity with that observation, that novel observation. So you should be working for some kind of NGO so that you can help spread the knowledge that dogs are laying in bed sometimes. That's crazy, man. Son, just you basically might as well call him Michael Vick based off of the amount of abuse. Trump tariffs. Oh, alright, guys. Oh, I've been going for 3 hours. Guys, everyone, have a good rest of your Saturday night. I'm gonna peace out. See you later. Bye.